Hey Omega, not too much. How are you today? Hope your day has been going well. I'm gonna give people a few minutes to come in, of course, and then I'm just gonna get started. And then if the person who asked this question doesn't show up, I'll just talk about something else at large with people who do show up. Pretty good weather today. Nice. Where I live, it's like, I think in upper 80s. Let me check. It's been pretty hot today too. For me, a bit humid because we just had a storm pass by us. 90. Oh god. Yeah, it's in, like upper 80s, 90 apparently right now. It's very sunny. And I think tonight we're expecting some storms. So it's gonna be humid. Hey chicken, good to see you. You know, while I'm waiting, just like I'm just gonna wait like 2, 3 minutes. But while I'm waiting, I read this question. It's like question from Impractical Jokers. I'm like, okay. And then the person says, yours truly, I lied in the username section. I'm like, bruh, you kidding me here? I'm kidding. Hey, wizard. Liars. People gotta lie, man. Why are you always lying? Hey, Triggy. It's good to see you. Is it too late to respond to your questionnaire? Yeah, but, Omega, you're here. Why you always lie and saying the biggest liar himself? I never lie. I'm the most honest person. So Omega, if this person, for example, isn't here or hasn't shown up, and I'm cutting it off at like just like 2, 3 minutes, then you can just ask me your question. It's like I had this happen in my previous job as well, where people would submit questions and then they just wouldn't show up, and it's like, wait, what? But what? I'm gonna write it up, and once you give me the go, I'll smash send. Yeah. Here's what I can do. Um, Here, let me just change it right now. What I'll do, Omega, just so you can, I'll just change this right now. I'll accept responses now. That way you can type it up in here. So let me, yeah. So it should, try it out now. Go, you can like go to the link and put it there. Maybe suddenly they need to do something. Yeah, maybe. No, that's cool. What do you mean submit questions? Wasn't it just conversation in your old job? I guess I'll talk about that while I wait for stuff with Omega. So in my previous job, it functioned kind of similarly to say any graduate course where you have like a cohort and whatnot. So I'll just break it down. But we would have group calls, and the groups would be like 40, 50, sometimes like 70, 80 people, like any given day. And if they wanted to ask us questions, they could, because that was the purpose. We were doing like a group coaching call, like just kind of coach all of them at once. So they could like submit their questions in advance, and we'd give them like a form to work with. So there were a lot of ways that we would coach people. We would coach people through, I guess, like our online portal. So we could give people kind of like chatting in the way that we are, kind of text and whatnot. But as you can understand, that's limited. But when trying to talk to people at large, we would have group calls. 80 people on call, that's crazy. Yeah. I was pretty comfortable with it just because of my streaming background. I'm like, all right, cool. But yeah, so it wouldn't be, but it would be a little different because right now on YouTube and on Twitch, I'm just talking to a bunch of people typing things. But this was very much like a group conference call, like on Zoom. And so myself and the other employees, we would, of course, we would be running the thing and, you know, calling on people individually and stuff like that. So we went through that pretty regularly. So sometimes people would submit questions up front, kind of in a similar capacity as here. We would not encourage people to, we would discourage people from doing a big blob of text. Were there any troublemakers on the call? Absolutely. But what we did on our end, like there were some troublemakers, but for the most part, we made it very clear if you're going to be a troublemaker, you're going to be out and you're going to lose your money, basically. So you could spend thousands of bucks on our program, which is how much it cost at the time when I was there. But like it would be very, very fringe scenarios. Maybe like 1 out of every 1,000 people would be a problem. But we would, like, if someone was really being a threat to the group at large, I mean, we kicked them out. We didn't have any tolerance for that shit. But there's a whole thing that goes with it. But yeah, so it would be a lot of conversations, but it would be much more face-to-face on a Zoom call. Now, it wouldn't be 80 people talking all at once, or 50 people, or 30 or 40, or whatever it was for that time. It'd usually be myself and the person who asked the question, and everyone else, once the main person has asked their question, kind of like in the style here, to a certain degree, then we could go with follow-up questions that other members might have. And the questions would be focused less on like, hey, here's my entire life story. Not saying this is what this is, but it, like, here's a big blog of text. Can you sort it out? It'd be like, okay, we understand your life is complicated, but we're going to ask questions about the skills you want to work on and how you can improve upon those, because the bigger picture is you're lacking relationship skills. So that's the thing. Yeah, Zoom call. We used Microsoft Team back in COVID. I was still in college. I would just turn my camera and mic off to play Neo 2 and turn those back on when professors call me. Right. The thing with of course, the relationship program that I was a part of, that I was a coach for, it's entirely optional whether people want to show up. It was never mandatory. Never mandatory. It's just if that person wanted help improving a certain skill that they had. And generally speaking, a lot of people showed up because they're like, we're pretty lacking in relationship skills because our relationships are going down the gutter and my partner is divorcing me and this and this and that. Right? So they'd show up because they're, you know, naturally they want to make things better and get some sense of relief. So people would show up. But, for example, if someone was just there and they were playing video games, I'm like, bro, you don't have to be here. Go. Just leave. It's fine. Some people would, of course, show up for some time and then they would have to go. But that was what the nature of it was. All right. I'm waiting on Omega over here. No, it's fine. It's fine, Omega. You take your time. Just let me know when you've posted. Just let me know when you've submitted it so that like I don't have to keep like refreshing it. Okay, you know what? Screw that. I'm gonna personally blame all the responsibility of my behavior onto Omega. Omega, everything I do is your fault. You may not know me personally, but it's still your fault. Come on, man, get faster. What are you doing? That's cool, bro. It is what it is. Nah, it's cool. But one thing I will say, hopefully in a bit to guide you, a bit to help you make your question easier for you to type out and just for other people to understand how I kind of work things in general, is I generally advise people to focus on one skill that they are lacking and what they need help with. That's the biggest thing. So if I were to analyze this question, for example, and again, this guy isn't here, so if he shows up later in the stream, maybe I'll get to it, but he isn't here, so I'm just going to skip over it. Unless I think there's something really huge that I think would be good at large, but any specific situational help, well, kind of out of luck. So for example, I will tell you very upfront what is completely irrelevant to me, and it's not something that's really that important in the midst of making the situation better. So obviously this is sweet, thank you, but I don't need that. Okay, started my search on a dating app and I was able to match with this girl who I share multiple interests with. The only thing I'm thinking about is, like, this is irrelevant to me. Okay, shared multiple interests with, and I'm thinking, why does this matter? Not saying it doesn't matter, I'm just curious, like, okay, you have multiple interests. And then here, we feel the same. We like the same interests. So far, there's nothing juicy for me to work with. I'm like, okay, cool. But what's the issue? What's the problem? Okay, we're hitting it off. Great. Things are going great. Like, okay, cool. Right now, we're in the early stages, have not met in person, but I'm trying to make plans. Okay, what sort of plans? So far, nothing juicy. Okay, it's insert context. Only thing that is in my mind is, okay, last relationship was toxic. Now, for me in my brain, I'm like, okay, I don't understand why it was toxic. Was there stuff that this person was asking that could be toxic? Or were they doing toxic things? Was their partner doing toxic things? I don't know what's going on, but I still like the only thing that I have in my head is like, okay, I can scrutinize what the poster is saying. That's it. But in terms of, hey, what advice do I give you? I got no fucking clue. All right. So far, largely irrelevant. And the information so far is just like maybe little bits of like data points, but I don't have the meat and potatoes yet. I mention it, and now we're getting some reasoning, because part of what made it toxic was the lack of trust in each other. I'm like, okay, this is big. So trust issues, okay. Now we're starting to get to something meatier. I was anxiously attached. Okay, we're talking about attachment styles. And I would read into the tiniest bits because of my fear of losing the relationship. Okay. Which wasn't helped by my depression and bipolar disorder. Now I'm starting to see here are some potential like problem areas or things to be fixed. Hey Poofer, how's your day going? Irrelevant. I know. For the purposes of solving a problem, imagine going to your professor, hey, or if you have a professor, or like your employer, hey, Mr. Employer, I got a problem. It's really, really nice to see you, and here's how my day has been going, and X, Y, or Z stuff. I think at some point you can be like, okay, bro, what's the problem? You need my help. What's the problem? Please, can we get to the problem? And the reason I flag that, it's not to be a dick. It's not. Yo, Poofy giving dating advices now? I mean, I self-esteem relationship coaching, so yes, this is what I do for work. I take it, Wizard, you understand where I'm coming from. But yeah, like, I'm just like, all right, you got a problem, what's the problem? I'll help you with your problem. Just get to the point, please. So far, the biggest things are just, all right, you got a lack of trust. That's a big issue, okay. Anxious attachment, and I would read into the tiniest details because of my fear of losing the relationship. Hey, Asaf, good to see you. So these are more salient points for me to think about, but again, so you're not milking the 1 hour sessions with your clients talking about useless stuff? Absolutely not. Exactly, Chicken Burrito. We go full Jack Garland up in this, up in here, okay? Just tell me about, details fast or I'll get mad. Yes. Yes. Just tell me about the crystals. That's all I want to know. Yeah, pretty much. Don't care, Astos. Okay. So, all right. So relationship issues. I got anxious attachments. When I was let go, I was heartbroken. Okay. Again, context. Big thing that's hard, that's makes it good for me to hear. I recognize much of it was my fault. Okay, good. So at least this person has a tendency now, at least, to take some accountability, which can help, which is very, very important. So that helps me understand the starting point of the person asking. I wanted to fix things with my partner, but things grew distance between us. Again, this is vague. I don't know like what specifically happened. Be free from that relationship. I underwent a path of self-improvement that helped me move on. I mean, great. I want to do right with this relationship. Fantastic. And turn a new leaf towards a brighter future. Again, a lot of context. It does help me understand the starting point of, I guess, this hypothetical client in this situation. But I still don't know what the actual problem is. What's the actual concern? Like, it's not too much yet. I still don't know what to do. Now here we go. What I worry about is the potential for my anxious tendencies will carry over into this relationship, and I don't want that to happen. What do you recommend to help with fits of anxiety in situations where it might distract from the present moment? How do you balance personal responsibilities in your relationship? What should you what should you tell yourself to prevent overthinking, and how will I know when the relationship feels and is secure? I can work with this. So what he's asking is how not to bring past baggage into his new relationship. Right, you can distill it down to that. And of course I can talk about things like anxious attachment style or any attachment style, but with my line of work, it's irrelevant. It legit does not matter as much as people think. I've heard, and like I can talk about that theory at large, but for the most part, what I would say in an oversimplified way would be like, well, if you're afraid, like what's going on here? Don't want to bring past baggage into the relationship, and you don't want to mess it up. You got baggage. What do I do to make sure my relationship's a good one? I'm like, well, first of all, being anxious isn't a bad thing. Having anxiety is not a bad thing. It's very normal and healthy. The issue, and then I could talk about anxiety. So what I could do, my brain can go towards, hey, is the issue, like I would wonder, hey, what does this person do with their anxious tendencies? That's the first thing I want to know. What do they do? Because for example, if it's like, oh, I need to like spy on my girlfriend or whatever every time and not give her any privacy, I'd be like, whoa, those behaviors are a problem. We need to recognize that the tendencies, the way that you are channeling your anxiety is incredibly controlling. We need to recognize that and cut that off. And then also, we have to change that behavior, but then also address the cognition so that your cognition can go towards healthier behaviors rather than something that's really controlling. That would be like the big picture stuff. Or it could be, hey, this person is just scared and like they genuinely do good things. Then I would help them understand how they can boost their self-worth as they are improving their the quality of their relationship, so that they won't necessarily need to ask questions like these. Because preventing overthinking, I don't usually, like, I overthink a lot. But usually when I recognize that overthinking is just a stress response of trying to make everything perfect and prevent bad things from happening. And sometimes, and more often than not for me anyway, it's not really adaptive. Usually there's something pretty simple I could do, or some realization I could have if I were to just zoom out a little bit. In Neo terms, it's like being more aware of your attack pattern and preventing making the same mistake. Right. In Neo terms, it's like, hey, if I die a lot, or like, let's say let's say we're working with deflect timing, right? I know my deflect timing is bad, so I'm like, okay, here's what you can do to improve your deflect timing. That'd be it. And then now that your deflect timing is improved, Not gonna lie, I don't think this topic is right for my question. I'm sorry for wasting time. Send it anyways, and let me be the judge of that. I'll let you know if I can help or if I can't. And if I can, I'll try to at least direct you to somewhere where you can get your help. All right, so while I'm waiting for Omega to let me know they've submitted their question, the thing is, in general, I don't really need that much context to be able to give salient advice for things like this. Naturally, with this individual, I would need to ask some more questions to really understand like what's the biggest problem, because balancing personal responsibilities in your relationship, I'm like, okay, I have somewhat of an idea where to take this, but there's some questions that I need to figure out to really understand the lay of the land. So for example, if it's like, all right, if you're focused on personal responsibilities, are you neglecting your partner? Are you actually neglecting your partner, or is it a misunderstanding based on baggage that both of you have? Any questions? Fine. Like, Pooper, do you pour the milk or cereal first? Oh my god, I'm not a monster. Cereal and then milk, okay? That's how it goes. Come on, because if you do milk first and then cereal, the milk's not going to be evenly distributed enough into the cereal. You need the cereal first, and then you can pour all the milk, and then the milk can drop down. Come on! It's like, how do you make your British tea? Water first or milk first? I'm like, are you... No. It's water, and then you put a little milk into it. Not milk and then water. Like, what? No. What are we doing here? Come on, no. This is bad. I don't have a preference. I just do whatever at the moment, but I bring my cereal and milk with me and keep adding them as I eat. You mix it in your mouth. Oh my god. Chicken burrito. This, I think I'm gonna, I crunchy cereal is yummy. You know, I think I need to call the authorities on you, Chicken Burrito, because I need to report a crime. I like honey wheat cereal. I've had honey bunches of oats. I used to eat Oreo O's. I don't want it to be sad and wet. Okay, Chicken Burrito. Ah, yes. Says the guy who likes Hawaiian pizza. I don't like Hawaiian pizza, but I do like pineapple on pizza. I think pineapple on pizza is legit. And anyone who doesn't agree is just wrong as a human being. I actually don't like meat on pizza. Yeah, pineapple pizza gang, rise up. All right, Omega, I'm waiting, man. I'm waiting. Oh, I got it. Omega, you're the best. Let's go. All right, we got Omega up in here. What a boss. Okay. Okay, let's go. I have a friend of 10 years who rejected, I'm guessing me, when we first met. She recently told me she used to be crazy about me, and if I wasn't such a pothead, she would have been into me. Okay. Little does she know I don't like smoking. I just struggle to stop. Okay. After hearing her tell me that, it hit different. I've been 14 days sober and never felt so okay about quitting. I want to try my hand at seeing if she's still interested in a relationship, but I'm afraid if she's like, nah, then the motivation gained to stop will be lost. Or maybe I shouldn't focus on trying to gain a romantic relationship with her and maybe focus on changing it and maybe she will notice. I feel like she rejected me once, so I can't try again, but I don't know. Omega, this is 100% within my line of work. 100%. I've helped people reconcile, by the way, despite, like, a lot of our clients in my previous job had, like, addictions in some way. Whether it was, yeah, people smoked a lot of weed, people, I think some did some heavier drug use. Normal. Mental disorders, very common. So let's talk about this, right? The biggest thing that catches my eye is actually this. I want to try my hand to seeing if she is still interested in a relationship, but I'm afraid if she's like, nah, then the motivation gained to stop will be lost. To me, the fact that you have the fear that you'll lose your motivation to quit and to stay sober is already a big problem in itself. Because it just means your decision, the impression that I get is that your decision to basically be to not smoke pot depends on whether she's interested in you. As you say, it's not within your control, basically. And if it's not within your control, and considering life has many things that are outside of our control, that gives me strong evidence that, like you say, you'll still be stuck on this. You might be sober for 14 days, but then if you get bad news, you'll stop. And then you go right back to where you were, and then it's just going to further cement this. What I would say is more along the lines of what you're talking about here. What I generally advise my clients is just focus on changing because of your own personal belief in it. Change for yourself, in other words, because you believe there is huge value in it. The romantic relationship stuff is secondary, to be completely honest. Whether she notices or not is also an irrelevant detail. Because basically what this woman is looking for is to see if you've changed and if you won't be a pothead, along with other things that probably... Actually, honestly, I'm going to go one thing deeper. You smoking pot is probably not the biggest issue. There are plenty of couples who smoke pot. I'm sure people who are married, who have kids, I'm sure they'll enjoy pot every now and again. But the problem is going to be, what do you do when you smoke pot? That's going to be the bigger thing. Obviously, like, being addicted to pot can be a problem, but the thing that I would ask is like, well, why? So, all right, pot addiction. All right, but what makes it considered? What is an addiction in the first place? Like, what defines an addiction? So let me look it up. Addiction, definition, and forget AI. Hate AI. According to the Center of Disease and Control, addiction is defined as a... Wait, can you just... All right, we'll go to the NHS. I trust NHS more. Addiction is a common problem. Help is available. Is defined as not having control over doing, taking, or using something to the point where it could be harmful to you. Okay? You're not in control and it's causing you harm. So let's think about this in the span of this relationship as well. You don't control whether she likes you or not. It's never something directly in our control. I mean, there's nothing like you can do today to guarantee 100% she will like you the way you really want to be liked. Except maybe, oh, you quit pot. But again, even then, maybe. She could say, no, I'm still not interested. Right? You don't have control. And obviously you recognize it could be harmful to you. So that, like, I say that not to say that you're addicted to her. Or maybe you are, I don't know. But it's creating a lot of distress, and it's something out of your control. You see the commonality between that? That the way that you're thinking about this is akin to how those with addictions sometimes think. That's something my clients face a lot. Is that sometimes their thinking is almost like addicts. I don't understand addicted to her, potentially. But what I'm trying to point out is you don't have control over her. And right now, what I'm trying to let you know is that when you are saying, hey, your motivation to stop or your motivation gained to stop smoking pot, I'm also trying to say it's not in your control because, hey, I might lose it if she's not interested in me. Does that make sense? Do we at least agree on this? I'm probably not coaching this the right way, all things considered. Okay. Your pot addiction, whether you smoke pot or not. Okay, here. Well, smoke pot depends on interest. Oh, I might relapse. So you're not in control. If anything, she is. It's outside your control. Oh, shit. That's no good. Oops. Oh, come on. Now, question for you. Given that she's told you, hey, don't be a pothead, I might be into you. Do you think if she learns, do you think it'll be helpful for her to feel comfortable enough to try to get into a relationship with you if she recognizes, oh, the only reason that Omega doesn't smoke pot is because I'm interested in him? Do you think that would make her feel comfortable, or do you think that would make her feel uneasy? In other words, do you think she could trust you? Uneasy, I think so, because I wouldn't want anyone to change for me. Great, I'm glad you caught it. So right, what I would say, and you're thinking ahead of me, which is great. God, this is so much easier than working with my clients sometimes. Hey, Jax, good to see you. So right, what you'll want to change the reason. So if you are, like, don't change for another person. And the same way you wouldn't want someone to change for you, don't change for another person as being the only reason. I obviously, like, in my own relationship with Cass, her and I are, like, we're not married, we're not a romantic couple. I don't, like, I'll do things for her, but the underlying reason is because I genuinely want to. If she asks me to change, so to speak, it won't feel like I'm sacrificing myself or disregarding myself to change for her. Like, I'll still change for her, but it's because I ultimately want to. I want to. So what I would say is, for you to really be able to kick the pot habit or anything of that nature, or any addiction for that matter, it needs to depend on you, yourself. You'll need to find reasons of your own. Without that, change will not be permanent. I'll speak for me. The reason I changed, and when I started making the most dramatic changes in myself, was when I recognized, holy shit, the way that I was treating Cass was akin to an abuser. Like, I was emotionally abusive, very neglectful. Very neglectful. Cass has said very much that, like, yo, you just, like, weren't there. And she's right. I wasn't. And in that regard, by neglecting her, by emotionally abandoning her, I did that a lot. By being so dismissive to her, I was emotionally abusing her. Once I recognized that, oh shit. Okay. Once I realized that, like, oh shit, what I am doing is going against who I want to be and my values. I am betraying myself by engaging in these behaviors. Here's how, and here's like why. Once I did that, like, bro, any way she treated me or responded to me after fact, it became like immaterial. It didn't like it. I'm just like, no, I never want to be the same way that I was ever again, because I was toxic as shit by my own beliefs. I have that conviction, and I will do that no matter what, because the alternative of me being emotionally abusive is a literal threat to my system. Fortunately, this threat is within my control. It's my behavior. I can choose what to do about it. I can go work on myself. Literally, I can go to therapists, which I do. I can take feedback, and I can learn ways to not only not to be emotionally abusive, but to be like healthy and happy and do good things. That's all in my control. I can do something about it. That's what I would generally advise for anybody who is trying to change themselves, is to find deep personal reasons. So center it on your identity and values. Who do you want to be? Yeah, like, who do you want to be, really? And what's really important for you to practice? As Jax is saying, one should show up as their authentic self. Any changes should be self-imposed, which makes it organic and genuine. Right. I would say, I would go a little further than that and say, forget who you are today. I'm glad, Wizard. Maybe you should be a Pokemon trainer. I got that in my head now. I know you want to be the very best, like no one ever was. Okay, I get it. But I will say, for just to kind of build off of what Jax is saying in regards to changing the self, change to focus less on who you are today and who you want to be in the future. And as long as there is a difference where you're like, oh, hey, who do I want to be tomorrow? Who do I want to be in the future? What type of person do I want to grow into? Once you have a clear vision of that, and then you can understand who you are today. I want to be the love of her life. Well, that's not in your control. She may not be the love of your life. But here's what you can do. You can be someone who is, you can be somebody who is very loving, very understanding. You can possess a lot of qualities which someone else would be like, oh yeah, I would love this person happily. I obviously want to be Cass's love of, like, I want to be the love of Cass's life too. But and for that reason, like, that's part of why I changed, but it's not the main thing. But those changes again are dependent on who do I want to be, what are my values, etc. So okay, what would, if I were to be specific about what would make me the love of Cass's life, you're like, well, she's already told me before. She's like, yeah, you were like super safe and gentle and very understanding, and like we were best friends before, and you're always there for me, type of deal. And I'm like, oh, that's actually very straightforward. I'm like, okay, well, those are qualities. Me becoming more gentle, me becoming a safer person, me becoming a more understanding person, me getting better and better at that. That's 100% within my control. I can certainly practice things and do things. Just the opposite of who you were. I know, right, Wizard? Oh, yeah, I was not a safe person for her to talk to. Absolutely not. So for me, the changes that I could make so that she would eventually like fall in love with me, like they're pretty obvious. She's even said so. So like, what do I do these days? I just like literally try to live it up and have fun with her as friends, genuinely, just for the sake of being friends, not purely for the sake of, like, I want a relationship with her and she knows this, but I'm not like forcing it. I'm just like, no, like I genuinely want to enjoy my time with you in the present. I want to have a good time with you. So like legit today, in spirit of that, uh, for one of her birthday presents, we're gonna play Path of Exile 2, and I got her this controller that she liked. Fun. This is one she picked. So we can play together, because, you know, even when we were married, even when we were before that, and just in general, we had a lot of fun playing together. Cool. And we also kind of had like a conflict as well. We had a conflict because um I didn't think she'd get this color controller. I thought she'd get like an orange one or something. So I was like confused. I'm like, wait, what's going on? I'm like, are you sure this is the one you want? And I was confused about the color, but Cass had thought that I wasn't trusting her, I wasn't believing in her, which is definitely like a problem we had when we were married. Oh, um, did I get a membership? Oh, BV Nest, thanks for the membership. Appreciate it. So she had a certain interpretation of my behavior. I had a certain interpretation of things as well. We had a misunderstanding. So because of a misunderstanding, what I did was try to understand what was going on with her and talk about it and try to resolve it with her. That's all. And there are a lot of like deeper things. That is me practicing my identity and values and showing to myself and to her that my default is to be somebody who is understanding. Did she think you were trying to talk her out of that color? Yeah, she did. She thought like I was trying to make her get a specific gift, and it took the fun out of it for her. And I was like, oh crap. In my head, I genuinely wasn't trying to do that. I'm like, that's pretty bad. That even though I intended X, she received negative X. I'm like, shit, I need to fix whatever I'm doing fast. So I asked her for feedback on what to do. What was going on? What did I do badly? Basically, I wanted that feedback so I could do better. So I am practicing my values and my identity every day and trying to improve that every day. Because ideally, she would have seen, oh, he's just being extra careful to make sure, like in my head, I'm trying to be extra careful about making sure she gets what she likes because I'm not used to her getting a color like this. It's very out of the ordinary. But there is a deeper issue underneath it. I make changes in the way that I do things because I care. there's no loss for me. And there were like some concerns I had because her and I just talked about this like before I got on the call here or on the stream here. But I was concerned. I'm like, yeah, like, I have my own personal issues with trusting people too, because I blindly trusted people for a while and I've been abused for it. And so, not to say that you aren't trustworthy, but it would just really be nice to see, like, to understand, like, what caused you to go from, hey, this is my favorite color to I'm doing something totally different. That's it. I just want to understand what's happening. And if I get any feedback, whether it is you like something or don't like something, like, it's fine. If you don't like something, I'll do something you like. Like, I'd be happy to do that. I talked about like my concerns with her, and I basically like let her know like she doesn't need to prove anything. Just let me see the proof that's already there, and it's like stone is rock solid. I just want to see it, and then it's like super easy. When we came home and she opened up the controller, she was like, "Oh yeah, this looks cool." And at that moment, I'm like, oh, she likes it. Like, oh, it's really obvious she likes it because her reaction to the controller is like pretty positive. I don't have to question it. But in the box, without her messing around with it, I was unsure if she would like it. And I really wanted her to get something she liked. But because of my emotionally abusive behavior in the past, she's not going to give me benefit of the doubt. She's going to see the behavior that I do as it's going to remind her of things in the past where she was experiencing a lot of pain. I had in my mind good intentions at heart, but the impact that I had on her was negative. So I was concerned, how can I make the impact better? And that's all I focused on. Again, because of my identity and values. And because I practice this just relentlessly, I mean, this is just who I am at this point. So because I just do this day in and day out, over time, Cass trusts me. So in the same spirit, because I have this engine, so to speak, to fuel me, right, where my personal changes depend on myself and whether I can improve who I am in the future or today, if I can keep improving that, great. If I can upgrade my practice and my values, great. Then I'm motivated to keep creating personal changes. It's all within my control, so this is self-sustainable at this point. All I ask is just for feedback. And I will decide whether if there's something I'm not practicing to the best of my ability for my values or identity, whether it's my behavior or my thinking, which I do try to change constantly, then upgrade it, and I go from there. So in the same way, for smoking pot, I would say it's got to be the same thing. So if you are struggling to find reasons for yourself to change, which I'm guessing you are, considering, hey, I struggle to stop, which if someone's struggling to stop, it usually signals to me an addiction. And if you've only been sober for 14 days and you've never felt so okay about quitting, and naturally you're concerned, oh no, what if I relapse? Then I would say even more reason to discover to start figuring out, like, hey, how has me smoking pot really fucked me over? Like, think about again what your goals are. Think about how whether it helps you. I don't know what your goals are, Omega, for example. It's not that I struggle with reason to change. It's hard just not having the helmet of smoke protecting me from the world. I know I make questionable decisions, but it's okay because I get high and move on. It's just hard not having the helmet of smoke protecting me. Okay. Yeah. So typical stuff that coping mechanism type stuff. So I'll be very public about this. I used to have a porn addiction. Straight up. Watch porn and consume porn multiple times. It totally impacted my marriage. It totally did. All right. I remember the first time, like, I quit back in early 2023, I think. I don't remember, to be honest, the exact time. I remember relapsing, I think, in 2023, and I felt terrible about it. But yeah, ever since then, I've been clean. Like, to the point I just don't think about that shit anymore. So, what I would say is when you are dealing with the equivalent of withdrawal symptoms, right? So, okay, you got an addiction. And whatever addiction it is, all right? On some level, it provides some relief, but relief from what? As you've mentioned, it provides some temporary relief. So you smoke, it protects you from the world. So what I would want to know, what is it really you're protecting yourself from? You make questionable decisions, but it's okay because I get high and move on. For me, in my case, what was it protecting me from? It was protecting me from emotional discomfort, for sure. For sure. It was a lot of trapped trauma and anxiety in my system. So consuming pornography gave me an escape. And obviously pornography coupled with like masturbation or whatever felt good. Obviously. Pornography in of itself was just an escape into this alternate reality, kind of like video games in a way. And so that was much more preferable to what I was experiencing in reality. And then obviously just like jacking off is going to feel good on some level. So those got paired. But then what I started to realize for me, and even though I recognized this, I couldn't stop it, I'd recognize it's not really helping me feel better. So then I'd feel worse. And then I feel worse, I go back to my coping mechanism once again, and I'm stuck in this loop. Right? And I just keep doing it again. Oh, I feel like shit. I feel terrible. Nothing's really working out for me. I'm going to go to what I know. Even though it's not helping me. Not really. It's not really making me feel better. It's making me feel a little bit, but it's like the core problem is still there. So here's the tricky part. What we need to do, right? What I learned to do was first learn to sit with the emotional discomfort. And it was intense. It was fucking intense. It would cloud my mind. It would cloud my sanity. I would be fine for like a few days. But then my system, whatever was stored in there, was just starting to come back up in my head. And it like fucking messed with my mind. Oh my god. And I very much felt like I needed to consume my addiction just to prevent myself from doing stuff. Like, talk about my brain working against me. It was like the biggest mindfuck. And it was just like the most convincing shit I've ever experienced in my life. My own mind and body fighting against me. In the short term, you're gonna have a lot of this. But as you might know, if you've ever looked into like alcohol, like AA, like Alcoholics Anonymous or anything like that, what people eventually learn, and I've learned myself, is to really understand what the nature of my emotional discomfort, to be able to observe it, be mindful of it, feel it. You know, you can talk about it with a therapist and whatever, but eventually it does need to get rerouted into healthier coping mechanisms. In my experience, those who get addicted usually are suffering some trauma that they cannot, there is nothing immediately available in their lives that can satiate their stress, so they go to something that can at least help a little bit. As you've said, protecting you from the world. So what I'd want to know is what protections do you need? How do you feel unsafe? What is causing you to feel that way? I want to understand this so that I can slowly redirect you towards this. One must be careful not to move from one addiction to another. Right. You'll go from one addiction to the next. But I'm trying to, what I learned, like, I don't consume pornography at all. One thing I do these days is I'll doom scroll on my phone, which I realize I'm like, this ain't fucking helping, and I know that. And I notice I'm like, bro, I've killed one addiction before with porn. Me like browsing the web, what is it accomplishing? I'm like, it's fucking nothing. I'm just wasting my time. This sucks. I need an alternative that makes me feel really good and is actually very helpful. So 2 parts. Learn to get comfortable with your own body, your own emotions, even the intense withdrawal symptoms that I'm pretty sure you'll have. Because at some point for me, I was like, oh yeah, I'm totally over the addiction. I'm not addicted anymore. I can consume it, no problem. Right. So as is being mentioned, if you have a proper way to deal with your stress so that you can lessen it over time, and the results of that are fucking real, eventually, in my mind, the addiction goes away. I mean, it has for me. Omega, I did ask you. Sorry, it was an actual question. What are you protecting yourself from? You said protecting you from the world. How? You make questionable decisions. Like what? Because when I read, I make questionable decisions. I'm like, are we refusing accountability for our actions? Because put one way, if I do stupid shit, for example, if I do something really terrible and I know it's a bad thing, like, and I believe it's a bad thing, me just numbing myself might make my stress go away temporarily, but it's always going to keep coming back because I'm feeling guilty about what I've done. But if I instead do something that's really good, and I get evidence that I'm making a positive difference, I'll eventually feel better. Questionable decisions like spending $500 a month on weed, not ever cooking, not ever trying to find a better job, a bunch of little things. Well, right, that's a lot of stress. So let me ask you then, what's preventing you from... So the weed thing I understand, it's like, well, weed makes you feel better, but why not cook? Why not try to find a better job? Okay, you flunked out of college. How'd you feel about that? I can't necessarily say if the events are traumatic to some people. Some things might be, some may not. It's dependent on the individual. I mean, like, for example, you could flunk out of a college that's absolute garbage because everyone there sucks. I don't think that'll be traumatic as much as opposed to being in there. Right? It just depends. It's on the individual. But was it traumatic to you is the question. Was it stressful for you? Did it bring you stress? Only you can answer that. There's some things that, like, for example, if Cass, like, insults me, like, oh my gosh, you were such a man-child, or something, There's some people who will interpret that like, oh my gosh, Cass is being super terrible to you. I'm like, no, she fucking isn't. I was a man child. I don't bat an eye to it. It's not remotely traumatic. Or if Cass were to say shit like, you never loved me, you hated me, or like, I fucking hate you. For some people, that'll be traumatic. For me, I'm like, no, that's fine. I'm not even thinking about it. That doesn't bring me any emotional discomfort. If anything, I'm like, oh gosh, she's in pain. Let me be there for her. Some people go to war. It's not traumatic for them. It would be for me, though. Everyone has their own reasons based on how they interpret life. So, do you see you flunking out of college as a painful event or not? My guess, based on you saying you flunked out of college, is that it was painful for you. But the bigger picture, what I want to understand is, and this is an actual question, you must let us get offended on your behalf, Poofer. I mean, go ahead. You can get offended for me, but it does nothing. Lol, I'm the college because everyone sucks. But what I'd want to know is, hey, you don't ever cook. How come? Do you want to cook? Do you want to be a good cook, for example, or a good enough cook? What about finding a better job? Are you happy with your current job? What's preventing you from, say, finding a better job? Do you want a better job? Are you happy with your life? Well, this is speaking. I feel I need this. I'm always stressed about how my social interactions have been lately, so hearing about developing healthy coping mechanisms opens the door mentally. Oh, happy to help. Your evolving is so apparent from your earlier streaming days. Your interactions with your viewers have certainly become more compassionate, more organic. Yeah, thank you. Try to do that. I'm already offended by Pooper's statement on cereal and milk. Yeah, you stay offended. It's a tagline, how to get rid of doom scrolling. Similar principle as I've been talking about earlier. What does doom scrolling do for you? What is it providing you relief from? What makes it feel good from time to time? Why would you doom scroll as opposed to let's try this. You have doom scrolling, and then let's just say you sit there and do nothing. What happens? I understand the terminology about dopamine hits. I'm trying to help you think about what emotional discomfort you might be avoiding. I'm not familiar with the old Poofer. Should I go back and check? Oh my gosh, dude, I have to like... You can go ahead, but I don't think it would be necessarily the most obvious. It may not be the most obvious, I don't know. But you can check my earlier streams. Okay. So, to Omega, since this is his question, I'm going to prioritize him. I'm not happy with my life. Great admission. I don't have a degree, and I don't think I can do much better than what I'm doing now. Have I tried? No. Okay, I want to cook. I bought some sweet Final Fantasy cookbooks, but when I think about cooking, I don't want to spend the time to do it, and then I go out and get food. Would you cringe very hard when you check your old footages, Pooper? No. What I did on stream is like pretty tame compared to how I treated Cass. Like, I don't really cringe at my streaming stuff. I don't like... I used to cringe at my past behavior, and I do think a lot of it's like pretty bad, but as opposed to, like, I've separated myself personally from my behavior. I'm very sympathetic to myself as a human being. I'm like, I understand why I did what I did, but fuck no, I don't agree with the behavior. What I did was trash. I can say that. I'm like, no, I was a shitty husband because I did shitty husband things, plain and simple. Just like, don't do that shit. I recall one stream where someone asked you a question to a particular move with split staff, and your reaction made me look at you like, wow. Wait, what? Jax, you gotta tell me. Because I have no fucking idea what you're talking about. Okay, so Omega, what I'm noticing is there's a sense of guilt that you didn't do the things you should have done. But let me ask you this question. Why don't you want to spend the time? Like, and these are just curious questions to try to help you understand more about yourself. So, What will happen if you spend the time to cook? Like, why don't you want to spend the time to like learn how to cook? And while you're answering that, these are just some thoughts I have. Because so far it seems like it's pretty obvious to you that, hey, I can see what I'm doing is a problem. No, that's okay, Omega. Take your time. Think about it. This is not, I don't expect it to be like you are absolutely self-aware about yourself here. I'm trying to help you gain that. Um, so far it seems like you recognize, hey, I'm doing stuff that's not helpful. I recognize it, but I don't know how to stop it. Like, I just do this stuff. I'm kind of on autopilot. I know it's bad. I know it's not helpful, but like, I can't fucking stop. Like you said, you struggle to stop. And honestly, what I would also recommend, and this will just be a bit separate, if I can, of course, help, but I would personally recommend perhaps looking into this. Should have, hopefully have insurance if you're in America. EMDR trauma therapists are good at this. That is if you're like, hey, I literally cannot fucking think what it is. I say that because I see one. It's helped me a bunch. It's stuff that's been like in my psyche for like 20, 30 years. Yeah. So Omega, while you're typing stuff, I'm gonna address what Jax is saying a little bit. I remember when Neo 2 came out, like I was pretty close-minded. I was kind of an asshole in certain ways. Absolutely. I was very dismissive of Neo 2 at large. Oh, yokai abilities. I don't want to do that because insert Neo 1. I didn't embrace change at all. I didn't even really give it a chance. I wasn't curious, really. It was just like Neo 1. And then eventually, like much, much later in Neo 2, I started using yokai abilities. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so much fun. I went from Neo 1 only. Neo 2 sucks. How long did it take you before you started liking yokai abilities? I don't know. Hundreds of hours, I'm guessing. I got no clue. I don't remember. I didn't even give him a chance, though. I don't remember. But I definitely do remember at the very least, on like when I was playing the Neo 2 beta, I dismissed yokai abilities altogether. I remember that because someone pointed it out to me and they're like, bro, this comment's funny in retrospect. I'm like, oh my god. I'm like, ah, yeah. And I remember complaining about Neo 2 Key. There were a lot of things that I complained about for Neo 2, but like I didn't even try to explore other things. So when it comes to Neo 3 now, I'm just like, dude, I don't know what to expect. Let's have fun. I'm playing video games to have fun. How can I have the most fun with it? So I don't dismiss stuff. I'll try to understand it before I decide if I like it or not. So I haven't messed around with soul cores all that much. I don't dismiss them, but I'm like, I don't really think it'll be my thing, but I think it's cool. Okay, cooking takes effort. Okay, so now back to Omega. Cooking takes effort, and it's been so long that I put effort into anything that I don't want. Feel that discomfort of trying something new, maybe. I have similar feelings with, okay, it's a little bit extra. I have similar feelings with the classes I'm taking at the moment. Okay. My guess for you, Omega, is what's going on is the following. Correct me if I'm wrong. You don't want to fail. My guess is underneath it, it's the fear of failure. And you're seeing evidence of ways that you are failing. and you're being reminded about how you're a failure. That is my biggest guess. I'm afraid because, for example, I'm a fail. Like, I fail a lot. Like, I play Neo 3 a lot. I fuck up a lot. Earlier today with Cass, I technically made a mistake with her. Yes. Am I worried about being a failure? On some level, yes. This is very normal. I think very common. No one wants to be like, hey, no one wants to look in the mirror and be like, I'm a failure. I can't do anything right. And when we see evidence that corroborates I am a fucking failure, it hurts. I want to go one layer deeper. Relationship for Gakis? Okay, Gakis are failures, okay? Okay. I want to go one layer deeper, though. Why is it bad if you're a failure? I'll speak for myself. All right, maybe some of you can relate. Me being a failure and being labeled as a failure at home led to punishment. My father was like a valedictorian. He got like some crazy award from the prime minister. He got like an immigration work visa or whatever to come to America. He worked with Dr. Anthony Fauci, got a letter of recommendation from this guy when he was heading National Institutes of Health or whatever. All right. My dad, for me, in my mind, was like basically the image of perfection. Okay. I'm like, these are my standards that I have to achieve. When I wouldn't achieve them, my dad was abusive to me. Whether it was physically at times, but most of the time, especially as I grew older, he was very emotionally abusive. He would treat me very poorly. He would like emasculate me, tell me I wasn't a man. So it did matter. Failure equates to the optics of how others see you. Right. My father saw, if my father saw me as a failure, I would experience abuse. No, he wasn't trying to help me. He was just basically just like, do better. And then I'm like, well, I'm struggling to try to figure it out. I don't know. I need help. Oh, you just don't want it enough. Like, he'd gaslight me all the time. This is like when I was a kid. So me seeing that I'm a failure equated to abuse psychologically, very deep in there. Right. Imagine our like the person that I look to for safety, for love and support, as you're talking about, Omega, that person really broke me. I would feel like I'm a failure, even though, did I have siblings? I did, yes. Older siblings who also achieved a lot. A lot of high achievers in my family, but I still felt like a failure. Like, I still remember, right, you don't want it enough, right? And you're like, what the fuck? I want it everything. I just can't do it. And it's like, oh, like there's like personal defect in me is basically the message I got. I guess I'm defective. I guess I'm a failure. I can't even function right. I can't accomplish this right. I can't do it like these other people. And I'm being basically put down constantly by somebody I'm looking to love and be there for me and to help me grow. Instead, I got beaten down. So yes, it did matter how my father saw me, because if he saw me like this, I got this. So yeah, I'm going to be afraid of failure. And that's going to be the way my entire worldview is shaped, because if the person that's supposed to be the most loving and caring to me, my parent, my caregiver, is supposed to be like the best of the best, then what the fuck else is the world going to be? People who don't hold me in that high regard. Or whatever. Or even other relationships where love and trust is involved. Yeah, this is going to come up. And then for me, because I felt like a failure and I like didn't have the skills to succeed, so to speak, I kept getting more, and then like real life starts to happen, and I'm not really equipped. I don't really know how to do this shit. I don't know. I'm like ill-equipped in general. Right, I come out as a result. Okay, so hold on. Let me change the arrows. So here's what happens. As a result of the abuse, but I'm struggling with a problem. It's not like I'm learning anything. It's someone just saying, hey, I guess you just don't want it badly enough. It's like, okay, just if you zoom out a bit, how does telling someone they don't want it bad enough, how does that fucking actually practically help? It's like, imagine going to a doctor who's, let's say a doctor fucks up a surgery. Do you think his colleagues would be like, bro, I just don't think you really want to be a doctor. That's why you fucked up the surgery. That's your advice to do better in the future. Just want to do better surgery. It's like, no, bro. It'd be like the dumbest feedback ever. Now, the feedback that would actually help the doctor do a better surgery would be like, hey, here's what we do. Let's figure out what problems you had when you were performing the surgery that made it go wrong. Let's see what we can learn so that you are equipped to do better the next time. Mistake was made. Let's learn from it and do better next time. The overarching message being, I'm here to help. But without that guidance, without that learning, you can't, like, without actually something to help you improve your skills, you're not going to grow. So here's what I would say, Omega, for you. The doctor, it was the patient's fault. He just didn't have enough willpower. Yeah, that'd be so stupid. Right, and Jax makes a brilliant point here. The difference between constructive and destructive criticism. Abuse and destructive criticism kind of go hand in hand on some level. We need constructive criticism to build us up. Feedback. I want feedback. I want constructive criticism. Cause of death skill issue. Name's not Poofy, come on. I don't know exactly why my dad was like that, but probably. I think my dad also experienced some childhood trauma. I'm pretty sure from what I've gathered. It's a generational trauma thing. It's unfortunately common enough for me to mention that. But here's what I would say. So sure, so we can recognize that the whole purpose I bring this up, Omega, is that you are doomed in this cycle. You have every reason to be afraid on some level of fucking up and to not want to try because of this cycle. You try something, you're afraid of fucking up, rather than making a mistake, say, with cooking, and then fucking it up somehow, and dealing with the emotions that come with that mainly, and reliving some of that trauma, whatever abuse. I'm not saying it was abuse in your case, only you can really determine that, but you had a negative experience, obviously so strong that it prevents you from doing stuff. But you haven't learned stuff. So if you haven't learned, if you haven't improved, yes, it's going to perpetuate this. But let's just change it to what we think it ought to be. I'm sure you wouldn't wish whatever you're afflicted with onto somebody else. You're like, man, it fucking sucks. I want out of this. So what do we want when we make, how do we want our lives to be? What do we want our values to be when it comes to approaching mistakes? I'm not asking about what the world, this is an actual question. I'm not asking about what the world is, what people have told you. I'm asking, what do you want? All right. Feel the fear. So, okay. Let's change this altogether. You make a mistake. What should we do next? What do we want it to be? Hey, I messed up. I screwed up with my cooking, or I screwed up in the way that I interacted with my own mistakes. I made whatever mistake it is. So yeah. So Chicken says, let it cook. Let him cook. Mistakes happen. Fix it or move on. Okay, that's what Wizard says. So Omega, what would you want it to be? If you were to make a mistake in the presence of if you were to make a mistake, how would you like to be treated? So let's say make a mistake in cooking. All right. I'm pretty sure you don't want I'm a failure. And by the way, I've had issues with cooking too. You want to be able to dust yourself off and try again. So let's do that. So let's focus on that. Let's just do that. As opposed to just giving up, which is what I usually do. So here, as Jax is saying, let's change the narrative. Let's control the narrative. And here's what I will add to this, all right? Making mistakes. Did I burn the bagels? I won't get into that. I'm not going to get sidetracked into that right now. I'll just say yes for the time being. Right. I'm the same way. I'm just like, well, if I made a mistake, I kind of just want to know how to do it better. If it makes anyone feel better, I'm capable of burning water. Yeah. Making mistakes is part of the human condition. For me, when I make... Yeah, not the bagel. I make mistakes all the time. What do I try to do is exactly what Omega is saying. Hey, I just try to learn from it. And I try to dust myself off and try again. Yeah. I try to learn something. If you watch me play Neo 3, for example, I make mistakes a lot. A lot. You can... And you should play Overcooked with Cass. We're going to play Path of Exile 2 later today, I think. We're going to die a lot. We're going to make mistakes. But let's just try to learn. Jax is beating me to the punch. For him, when he makes a mistake, he admits the mistake, and then he uses it as an opportunity to do better next time. Making mistakes is normal. Making mistakes is normal. It is okay. Anyone telling you otherwise when you're trying to do your best and you're trying to do better is like, just ignore that. The goal is when it makes mistakes, admitting the mistake sounds like a step I'm missing. Yeah, just admit the mistake. Hey, I fucked up. I made a mistake. It sucks. I feel shit about it. Let yourself admit the mistake to yourself, like, shit, I messed up. Naturally, all those feelings are going to come back. Right? Which would make sense. You're like, hey, I don't want to admit the mistake because insert consequence that has occurred to me in the past. I don't want it happening now. I get that. But let's not be defined by our past as opposed to us creating a future that we want. I bet, Omega, you would like to be able to admit mistakes and not suffer consequences for that. You'd like to instead of focusing on, I imagine you'd want to be able to admit the mistake and just focus on, as you said, dust yourself off and try again. So, okay, we make and the goal that I would say to have is, all right, you make a mistake. Yeah, Jax, you're doing wonderful. Actually, that's not how I want to do this. Okay. All right. I got a little diagram here, so just bear with here. So let's say, for example, I'll do Neo, for example. I will acknowledge, yeah, shit, I made a mistake. Oh, man. I will try to understand what that mistake really was so that I don't repeat it again, because I don't want to make the same mistake twice. My mechanical engineer background is showing. Thanks. All right, mistake level 1. I don't want to make the exact same one because otherwise I'm going to experience the same failures over and over again, which will suck. Instead, I want to learn from it and do better. Eventually, I won't make mistakes at that level and I'll experience a certain measure of success, which is great. Here, let me actually qualify this. Mistakes at level 1. Mistakes at level 2. Mistakes at level 3. And mistakes at level 4. All right. Let's say you're at level 1. When I'm playing Neo, I'm at level 1, or a version of like cool gameplay ability. All right. There are things that I'm missing out on, things I'm not learning about, things where I fuck up. But I'm at a certain level. When I'm trying to grow and trying something new, you bet I fuck up. I will make mistakes along my path to level 2, so to speak. I learn from that, and then I'm permanently upgraded. But the journey continues. And this goes on and on and on and on and on and on. It's just like climbing steps. You want to keep going up the staircase, don't want to stay on the same step, otherwise we ain't getting fucking anywhere, you know? But I have to actually understand what step I'm on and how to prevent going downstairs. I need to go upstairs. I don't know if my analogy works that well. To make it more specific to Neo 3, recently I've been working with ninja style mid-air play, which I suck at. I recognize I'm not good at footstool jump, or I recognized I wasn't that good at footstool jump, let alone mid-air dodge, and using a lot of the mid-air martial arts and quick attacks together to have a nice mid-air flow. I struggled, and I'm like, man, this is awkward. I recognize it's going to be awkward because my skill level is just way down here. Way down here. But as I recognized, all right, my footstool jump, I just like need to get better at it. So then I practiced that. I tried to understand how I could work with quick attacks and footstool jump. And I worked on that for like a consistent amount of time. And I got more comfortable with it. All right, and then I started weaving in martial arts. So that graduated me to, let's say, level 2. Started understanding more about footstool jump. But then I was like, wait, what about these martial arts? I don't know how to sequence them. So then I go from there. Started working on mid-air martial arts and pairing them with ninjutsu. And then I think more recently, I've started to recognize that, like, wait, okay, so I'm comfortable with doing a lot of mid-air things. Sure, there's some tweaks here and there that I could have for footstool jump, mid-air dodge, and using ninjutsu and whatnot. But now I'm thinking, like, all right, but when would I want to use mid-air dodge over other, or mid-air ninja style play over other options? Because I don't really have this sense of good flow to it. So it's a higher level problem. I went from, I don't know how to use these tools, to when's the best time to use these tools? For me, for my personal playstyle. So that's what I was working on like yesterday. And then the next time I'll play Neo 3, and I talked about this on the stream yesterday, was, you know what? There's another skill I'm lacking, which is transitioning in between the styles very fluidly. Like, I can just style shift, but there isn't that much meaning behind it. I don't do things like use Odachi Soaring Foul to transition into a mid-air attack with ninja style. Like, I don't do that, and I don't usually do the other way around either. That's super awkward for me. I'm missing opportunities, which in my head is effectively a mistake. So yeah, mistakes of a different nature. And now Chicken Burrito is introducing another mistake which people make. A lot of people can admit they're not good, but it is hard not to be stressing about not improving fast enough. the question that I would ask in that situation would be, fast enough according to who? Obviously, people can try to rush you, but if we think about it, is when you're being rushed by other people, are you going to be able to learn as quickly with that pressure of, oh gosh, I need to learn it fast because of other people, or not? My dad had unrealistic standards, very unfair standards. I got like a 97%. For example, I bring up this example a lot. In a mechanical engineering in college, I like got 97% on an exam, and then my professor at the time, I asked if I could work with him, and he said yes, and I wasn't proud of it at all. I didn't feel good about it. Even if I got a perfect on my test, my dad would be like, well, you should do better. Like, no, you should be getting more than that. I'm like, now I'm like, what the hell? I have to be number one. That was legit his thing. Number one, no matter what. Valedictorian all the time because he did it. And if not, I'm just not trying hard enough, basically. Yeah, my father has praised me in my memory like 2 3 times in my life that have been mean. Like one time I remember, which actually was very meaningful. But aside from that, nothing really meaningful. He'll say, "Oh yeah, but I did." I'm like, okay. There's a difference between you saying it and it actually landing with me. He's like, no, son, I think you're smart. You're capable of doing anything. And then juxtapose that with, oh, you just don't want to do anything. You're a failure. It's a little hard for me to believe the compliments, you know? Hey, Golden Seed. Um, but yeah, so the thing is, making mistakes is normal. It is part of the human condition. As Jax would, I think Jax would probably say something like this. Um, right, I guess Jax is beating me to it. Who's present? Yeah, the measure. You're right. Who presents the measuring stick in your success? Is it you or others? Obviously, others can be kind of like a nice, helpful data point, but and I'll speak for myself. I watch other people play Neo 3. I'll watch some of the Japanese streamers. I constantly check to see what other people's gameplay is like. Now, for example, there's a Japanese streamer named Boss. He is exceptionally good at deflecting. I think White Goat is too. And White Goat's playing a different way. But Boss is very good at deflecting. If my sense of worth was dependent upon just that, then by all means, I'm a failure. I'm not that good of a Neo player. But my determination of whether I'm a great Neo player or a good Neo player, or even more importantly, than whether I'm good or bad at my Neo skills, which to be totally fucking honest, I don't really care about all that much. It's more about, am I having fun? Am I enjoying what I'm doing? Am I enjoying what I'm building? When it comes to Neo 3, the moments I enjoy the most are when I can see, oh, there's so much I can learn. There's so much more cool shit I can do. I'm so fucking stoked. I don't see these as mistakes anymore. I start to think of these as opportunities. Legit. I get excited at what more I can do, what more I can accomplish. I get excited at what I can create. That excitement's there. So when average Neo enjoyer started to educate me, and he's been educating me a while for about ninja style, I just like didn't pay attention to it because I was just overwhelmed with other things. But when he was talking to me about like ninja style stuff and it started to click. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. I can't wait to be able to do this in the future. Right now, let me learn this because, oh man, this is exciting. It was cool for me to figure out, like, holy shit, footstool jump? Whoa, no way. Quick attack and a footstool jump and a quick attack and a footstool jump, and I can climb these enemies. And then Average Neo Enjoyer was sharing his findings about how you can climb up enemies. I'm like, whoa, I never thought of that. That's so cool. I want to learn. Ooh, oh, let me test this out. And like, I became like a scientist and like tried to learn more. I was just enjoying the process of learning. So yeah, I was able to focus on that rather than the consequences of me not learning and all the pain and punishment that comes with all the trauma I've experienced from failing. And then from there, I just like try to learn more and enjoy more. When I look at bosses footage, for example, I don't pay much attention to it because I'm like, yeah, sure, okay, deflect timing could be better. But I'm like, I can't really learn much from this. Okay, great, I can deflect better. Okay, cool, I can see some attack strings which I can block or deflect with a little more proper timing. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's cool, but dude, Neo Enjoyer's ninja style stuff is so cool. And then like I'm obsessing over it. I'm like watching my own footage. I'm like, oh, I could have done some midair stuff here. Oh, I could have done it here as opposed to here. Oh, actually, me going too all in with midair ninja style play is kind of a detriment to the flow that I'm aiming for. And I'm like, oh, okay. And like I'm connecting the dots. And so that becomes fun. But that is me changing my relationship with how I perceive mistakes. I'm not, by definition, I'm never going to be perfect. But frankly, I don't give a fuck. Because perfection implies an end. Perfect means there's nowhere more to, there's nowhere to go. If you're perfect, that's your ceiling. For me, with Neo 2, I started to get bored because I'm like, I can't like, okay, I can probably eke out a little bit more here, a little bit more there. But by and large, like the sense of satisfaction that I get from being able to learn something and pull off something new and create something is just like, it's gone. It's just not there. Neo 3, I'm like, yeah, it's a bit overwhelming, but I invest in it a lot because it's a lot of fun. It is so cool for me to like work with 4 weapons. 4 weapons, 4 guardian spirit things, like skills and summons, total. Bunch of ninjutsu. There's a lot of mechanics to play. If I was ever to go back to Neo 2, I'd get bored. I already was bored. I eked out as much as I could, and I don't go back to it. I don't have it downloaded. I don't need to play it. I don't need to watch anything from it. It's done. But here with Neo 3, yeah, I'm not as great as I will be in the future, but I don't care. I'm just focused on enjoying myself. So in the same way, when it comes to cooking, sure, you're not as good as cooking as you might like to be. So the focus should be on how can I learn to just do a little bit better than I did before. And be proud of every little accomplishment you make along the way. Every time you can do something a bit better. The goal is to, in my mind, do stuff that brings you joy and to keep doing stuff that brings you joy. Did you know, Pooper, that every time you die on stream, we are judging you and lose a little respect? I do know now. Right, when it comes to my own evaluation of my Neo gameplay, it's again my own. I'll look to see what other people do, but by and large, it's not what I want. It doesn't scratch the itch I'm aiming for. So Omega, for you, sure, your cooking skills may not be the way that you want them to be. I would say even more reason to work on them so you can start cooking dishes and be more proud of everything that you're doing. Because I bet if you were to create a meal, even a meal, and you were to cook and to accomplish that and to save yourself some money or save yourself some time, I bet there's a part of you that would feel very proud of that, especially because of what difficulties you have. you would be building up so much mental strength. It's going to feel difficult at first. It always does. But it's like with weightlifting, right? Push yourself to your limit until you can't do any more, right? You do reps usually until failure point, and you'll struggle for a bit. But as it is with exercise, like plans, when you're working out, you eventually improve the max reps you can do or the max weight you can do, and you get stronger. And if you just focus yourself on that, on just getting stronger, getting a little bit better, each time you're presented with an opportunity to change the future for yourself, basically, and you do something a bit more successful, as Jax is saying, that momentum will snowball. And before you know it, I have faith that you will do shit that will be so amazing to you, you won't even have to worry anymore about, oh gosh, I'm a failure, because you're just constantly succeeding. If you're afraid of being a failure, work on winning. When people go to the gym, and let's say they're overweight and they're trying to lose weight, what really helps is to have their efforts be praised. That, yo, you're working out, this is amazing, we want to help you. Like, I'm pretty sure guys are like, hey, I want to grow big muscles, I want to make massive gains. I'm pretty sure a bunch of other guys will be super supportive of that, regardless of how skinny or scrawny they might be, or how overweight they might be. They're like, oh, you want to get fit? Let's go. Or if you've seen shows like Mob Psycho, you got the Body Improvement Club. They're great. Check that show out if you haven't, by the way. That anime. The Body Improvement Club is very accepting of everybody, and they're like, yeah, push your limits and we'll see how far you go. Very inclusive. They're great. If you're struggling with cooking, I would say, for example, find an environment when that can help you with your cooking. A cooking class, for example. Mob Psycho episode 5 is my favorite one, or when he taps into sadness, I think it is. Right. So if you've seen Mob Psycho, Body Improvement Club is very good about making mistakes. Mob struggles with his physical fitness for the most part. Mob makes some pretty intense mistakes. But, the thing is, rather than denying his emotions, he has to learn to sit with that discomfort, work through it, resolve it, so he can be better on the other side. And find more of that peace. The mistake is just when you make a mistake, it's just it doesn't mean 100% you're a failure. If you see the mistake, let yourself see it and admit it, because now you just have awareness. Oh, this is my limit right now. It's not your limit forever. It's your limit right now. So if you can learn how to surpass your limits, you are growing. You are guaranteed to get better. Take it from me. I was emotionally abusive to Cass. If you want to talk about mistakes, bro, I made some really fucked up mistakes in my marriage. Really fucked up mistakes. I felt terrible. Absolutely terrible. And I'm like, holy shit. And yeah, there was definitely a point where I wallowed in it, and definitely was there. I felt like a horrible person because, spoiler alert, I was. But I had a choice to make. I had a choice to make, and it really was this. I could either stay the same way, or I could change and do better. Because she deserved better. And for me, what was more important, and however I felt about myself, was just look, I fucked up her life. I want to do good for her. I'm just going to focus on how I can do good, how I can do better. Why? Because I definitely don't want to be a failure. I want to be like, I want to be proud of myself. I want to do good things. I want to be able to regard myself with a sense of pride and have integrity for myself. I want to be a good person. I will do anything and everything that I can to do that, regardless of how people see me. That is like, I just want to do good. What can I do to create good? I will take feedback for that. I will try to learn from that. If people want to judge me for it, fine. But frankly, I don't really give a fuck. I'm just obsessed with trying to do good and making the world a nicer place, a better place, all of that. If I hurt somebody, yes, it stings. I still do, like, I'm sure I hurt people intentionally or most of the times unintentional. I don't try to hurt people intentionally. But I'm sure there is, like, earlier today, I unintentionally hurt Cass. You bet that sucked. Oh yeah, I felt terrible. Because think about it. I'm a self-esteem relationship coach who has helped save other people's marriages. Help them reconcile. And here I am in a relationship with the person that I love and care for the most. I hurt her. Still. I hurt somebody who has been a victim of my emotional abuse. I hurt her again. Yeah, you bet that sucks. But when I have that, my instinct is like, bro, I'm not fucking okay with this. I do not approve of this. I am not happy with this. So instead, I'm like, yo, I just want to do something really good for her because that'll feel so good. And not only that, I want to figure out how I can prevent future things like this so that things can be even better next time. I want things to be great. What can I do to make it great? And that's just for the bad side of things. But even when things are good, I'm like, well, I want things to be even better. Like, it's like, sure, you know, I could get these things that'll be nice for Cass for her birthday, but like, I want to do a really great thing for her. I want to make it like the best birthday possible for her. I want her to be happy. Either way, though, whether I make a super fuck up or I do something great, my focus is still the same. How can I do better? How can I create better? Because after all, I just want more happiness. Boofer has a job? Yes, I do. But yeah, after all, I just want to make it better. At the end of the day, that's all I want. All I want is just happiness. I want health. I want us to thrive. I want good stuff. I want a good life. What can I do to get on the good life train? I could waste my time punishing myself, which I already know where that leads. It leads to nothingness and nowhere. Or I could be like, fuck all that. I just want to do good shit. Let's do good shit. How can we have more fun? No, I'm not a Team Ninja developer. Get that shit out of here. The allegations are patently false. That is a fabrication. So it's not true. So that's some of the advice that I would give to Omega. I would say work on that. When it comes to your own relationship with how you make mistakes that you see that you're making. Instead of numbing yourself out with weed, for example, allow yourself to feel the discomfort that comes from all of the stuff that weed is protecting you from. The world can sometimes be a harsh place, but we can't necessarily control that. But what you can control is what you do in your life for yourself and for others. Take it from me. I've been abused. I've been abused by people I've trusted. That I've fully trusted. Like, betrayal of trust, yeah, it fucking sucks. If you want to know someone who could be jaded and has every right to be jaded, it is me. Same with Cass, actually. But we don't, like, I've seen people who have taken similar circumstances, and then what the route that they go is to be harsh to other people or to do shitty things. I'm like, no, because let's say the world is a harsh place and people can be mean. Isn't that more the reason I should be nice to kind of, I don't know, turn things around? Shouldn't, instead of me inserting bad into the world, shouldn't I insert good? Like, sure, some people will be mean to me, but like, I don't know, kind of my default, I just want to like be nice to people. Let me insert good like let me just insert good. That's about it. That's all I focus on. And what happens is and what I also try to do is, as Jax is saying, is surround myself with people who are focused on growth as well and kindness. That really helps. Thank you a bunch. Glad I came to this. Thanks. Of course. Also, I would say, Omega, if you are like, one thing I would recommend, as I talked about earlier, is and I see one. I see an EMDR therapist or some trauma centered therapist, because I generally recommend therapists in general over me. Like, coaches can be great. I'll say that because I like to consider myself a good coach, but I don't have a license. I don't have like the credentials. I don't have the formal training that licensed therapists who have to like take proper exams have. It's like the difference between your back alley doctor and like a doctor from Harvard. Sure, a back alley doctor could maybe do a great job, but generally speaking, there's a reason why there's a massive distrust for a back alley doctor compared to like, oh, this doctorate from Harvard, yeah, that seems kind of legit. So, sure, I might have great advice and I might even be really helpful, but I would strongly encourage you to, see if you can get to a therapist who can, a cognitive behavioral one, um, and trauma-based therapist. I go for EMDR. Yeah, check it out, Omega. See if they can help. Hopefully your insurance covers it. They're expensive. You can work with me, but it's out of pocket. Which I understand, like, some people just don't want to, like, I'm expensive, so people don't necessarily want to shell out of pocket money. It's if I that which is another reason why I want to get the therapist license, is because then I could just take away the money concern. I'm like, oh, you got X, Y, or Z insurance, great. You ain't got to worry about shit. Well, hey, Omega, the best time perhaps was maybe 20 years ago, but the next best time is now. Plant those seeds to grow that tree now. So yeah, try that out. All right. So unless there's any other further follow-up questions from Omega, I guess I can consider that resolved. Is that right? Holy smokes, I spent a great amount of time on that. Wow. Back alley doctors have real world experience. Harvard docs are only book smart, don't know anything. Ah, yes, perfect. Thanks, Jax. I appreciate it. And all right, glad for you, Omega, as well. So yeah, now I open the floor to anybody else if they have questions. I remember Jax, you and Chicken Burrito were kind of talking about like change in relationships and what that means. Don't know if there's any questions you guys had about that, because I think yeah, okay, so Omega's is done. This guy here, yours truly, Calctus, so based. Are you here? I don't think this person's here. Probably just delete this later. All right, take care, Omega. I don't know, Chicken Burrito. Dang, man. What level are you now at for your ninja airplay? I don't know. It's just a diagram, bro. I don't know. I don't really quantify it in levels. It's just a visual aid. Um I think right now my focus is less on broad ninja like midair play. It's like I have there's some weapons that I want to work with more. I'm starting to recognize that I don't know how to use midair play the best with certain weapons. So next time I'm gonna try dual swords and tonfa or dual ninja swords. At some point I also gotta try split staff. That might be one of the more awkward ones. I'm pretty comfortable. I'm fairly comfortable with ninja sword, kusarigama, talons, which I tried yesterday. Hatchets I'm pretty comfortable with because 5-foot drill jump just makes it like a cakewalk. Oh, thanks, Jax. I appreciate it. By all means, if you like, feel free to. Like, this is free coaching I'm giving to people. So if you want to recommend it to other people, I would love that. Because yeah, if there's enough interest in this over a long period of time, I'll create a second channel. But this is just in the short term. But yeah. Yeah, you guys do my marketing for me. No obligation to, of course. I'm just doing this for fun. People show up, great. If they don't, I'll just talk about random stuff. Fine by me. All right. So yeah, but yeah, again, I open this the floor to anybody if they have any peculiar topics they want to chat about, or if they heard about, or just anything related to self-esteem or relationships. So again, I've worked with people who have addictions. I've worked with people. If folks didn't know, this is truly worth about $1,500 worth of therapy. Hey, Jax, you said it, not me. I have had one of my clients say that she would pay $200 an hour for me. Sorry, chicken burrito. If they need my help, well, they have to reach out to me. Only then could I help them get remarried. Okay. So okay, I'm gonna scroll up because I did see an interesting conversational topic that I think Jax and Chicken Burrito were having that I wanted to chime in on, but I couldn't because I was focused on trying to address Omega's question. One thing I will say, just to kind of cap this off, though, is if you paid attention to Omega's question, it was very relationship based at first, right? Like, hey, changing basically to kind of get her back in some way, right? Oh, I changed, and it seemed like that at first, but when we scratched the surface, it wasn't really about the relationship. It's more a matter, like, oftentimes in my experience, the problems that exist in relationships is more of an issue of the individual problems people have with themselves that then play out in their relationship. You know how we talk about, oh, I bring in baggage into my relationship and then that kind of fucks it up, right? You address the internal baggage, or you know how to deal with the baggage in relationships, and relationships go smoothly. Because everybody has baggage on some level. Okay. Um, okay, so I see it's about being our authentic selves. I see about any changes you make, you shouldn't give up what you love. Here, I have a fun counter argument to this, Jax. What if what you love is crime? You know, I'm a type of person who loves to commit crimes. That's what I love doing. The right person for me would never want me to give up my love for doing criminal acts. I love being in the mafia, right? I love robbing people. It's such a pleasure. I'm pretty sure you'd be like, bro, you're twisting what I mean by that, which is kind of true. Unfortunately, I have seen like not I've seen people use like, oh, just love me who I am, exactly the way I am, as some sort of way to excuse shitty behavior. In theory, I think with the best and well-intentioned people, yeah, like you don't want to give up parts of yourself. But what if those parts of yourself are fucking fucked up? Scamming old people is fun. Fun, yeah. Why did you redeem? Right. So the thing is, there are parts to ourselves that yeah, absolutely we should change. What those are can differ, but in my like even just on a very basic level, people do change in relationships. Whether their roles are, the things that they face, life is full of we change. We grow. We're not like the exact same as we were yesterday. So, in a relationship, of course, we can have interests, right? We have interests, our partners have interests. We have a certain way of being, our partners have a certain way of being. Based on your love comment, there has to be some type of moral compass. I mean, that's part of it. But even let's just go to simple things. Let's go to simple activities. All right, I'll take my life for example. Okay, I was pretty big into like the no makeup thing for Cass. Cass likes makeup. All right, she doesn't use it that often these days, but she liked like dolling herself up and like dressing nicely and dressing smart. There was a lot of importance for her based on that. Like it was important. But myself, I'm like, nah, like kind of anti against that. I could have certainly used the argument, well, if Cass isn't if Cass was the one for me, then she wouldn't make me want to like get towards the dressing nicely, professionally type thing. I get to be exactly who I am the entire way I wanted to be. Like I can do that, but the problem is then we have two parts of ourselves that we like, certain activities that we like, but we can't share it because I'm being rigid about my preferences. I'm not even willing to explore this side of stuff for her. Then the concern becomes less about makeup or not makeup. It's just like, bro, I'm not participating in things she likes. I'll take this to another thing. I used to be before I get to my point, let me catch up with what you're saying. If there isn't a level of conscious as it relates to bringing harm to others, there's a deeper rooted issue that should be a red flag for anyone who might become involved with that person. I agree, which is generally what I work with my clients towards self-development well before relationship things in the first place. Because the usually my clients are struggling in their relationships is they got deep problems with themselves and how they behave, and they justify a lot of shit. And like I had one client who not only was going through a divorce, but like eventually got fired from his job because he was toxic to his boss too, and she was also a woman. And he had like such huge ego issues, and I'm like, okay, this is like he's just stuck in denial, and I'm like, okay, well, good luck. This is the same guy who's like, well, I Yeah, I had sex with other women when we were married, but it wasn't an affair. I wouldn't call it that. I'm like, you stuck your dick in other women? How is that not an affair? You cheated on your wife, right? Well, I bet she's cheating on me. She's probably slept with other guys too. And I'm like, no wonder your wife doesn't want to be around you. This is how you act. You don't take any accountability for your toxic shit, which you've said, hey, I was super toxic and I get why she's leaving me. And now you're like doing toxic thinking and behaving. I'm like, yeah, no wonder she doesn't trust you. Exactly. Deflecting to justify. Right. Like, here we go. I've had this happen with clients and I'm like BB Nice is saying, brother, please. You seriously? Really? You know you ruined your wife's life and now you're complaining about, like, I'm like, look, whether she dates or not is irrelevant to whether you need to fix your shit. Anyway, I've seen this tendency. So I usually help people try to work on their own self-development, because if they're not adequate in certain regards to like just basic human behavior, then they're kind of screwed anyway. And this guy he got fired from his job. So yeah, because he was impossible to give feedback to. And I'm like, yep, that doesn't surprise me. This guy tries to act like the head honcho. He was like trying to give me a relationship advice for Cass. And I'm like, bro, I'm the coach or the client. Like, have you saved any marriages? Have you saved any relationships? I'm like, no, I have. You got proof of that. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, okay. And like, anyway, it just like went off the rails. So, you know, I have to help people with that. So that like denial is a big problem, which I have to help people through. So anyway, back to this. Everybody has likes and dislikes. Obviously, some things are more extreme, like the crime thing I was bringing up, but we can all have differences in tastes. I'll bring another example aside from the makeup or no makeup thing, because that's not like a big deal to me anymore, and I've like resolved it for myself. But I used to be very judgmental over like movie selection. All right, so, or like just certain forms of entertainment. All right, so like spooky, scary stuff, or like supernatural stuff. All right, so any like horror movies or things of this nature, I would have a big disdain for. Cass would love it, and I would judge it. Right? That's what would happen. She was a big fan of it, and I would judge her for it. Be like, how can you believe this is so fake? And then I would judge the people who would like it as like being kind of stupid. I'm like, bro, like, you believe in this stuff? Like, are you serious? There's no proof of it. Which is kind of hilarious, since I was with in hindsight where I'm like, bro, you believe in a god. You have like, you can you believe in a god. Come on, yo. You're taking it like hypocrisy, seriously. So that's a whole other issue. But we had a difference of opinion about how we were approaching this thing. I could easily say, hey, no, like me the way that I am. But like, bro, I'm being judgmental of this shit. And not only that, I like did a lot of other toxic things related to that, and I'm not really participating and enjoying things with Cass. I'm not being flexible. That's the big thing. In relationships, I think it's incredibly important to be flexible. There will naturally be things that are extreme. Like, for example, if your spouse is committing crimes, like, I'm not saying, oh, you need to love the fact that they're doing crimes. And like, that would be a bit strange. Or let's say drug use, for example. If you, let's say you're using drugs like heroin or cocaine or whatever, saying, oh, you should just love and accept me for who I am and be okay with me using drugs. I'm like, look, you as a person I'm fine with, but I can't be okay with this behavior. I don't want to be with somebody who's a drug addict. Have kids with them? That's scary. You kidding me? Those are different things. But for like a lot of daily activities, even like video games, or not playing video games, I definitely think there should be some flexibility. There should be some room to grow together rather than just staying completely separate. That's not to say you can't have your own individual pursuits. When it comes to the spooky, scary and supernatural stuff, it's not like my go-to, but like I like sci-fi, for example, and Cass still likes that stuff. But now I'm like, I can enjoy it now. I can enjoy it and participate with it in it. So like we watched The Conjuring, and like all I did was, as opposed to having some preconceived notions or whatever biases I'm used to having, I just focused on like, all right, let's watch the fourth Conjuring in theaters and let's have fun with it. She was of course going to enjoy it, and I just decided, you know what, let me have fun with her. Let me enjoy it with her. And I was like, yeah, like that moment, I'm like, I like this one best part from the first Conjuring a bit more. But yeah, I like this in there. This got me scared. What'd you think about it? We could have like a conversation about it and we could have more fun. And it was cool. And I'm like, you know, as opposed to me getting so attached to the exact activities, why don't I keep it fucking simple? Have fun with her. Yeah. That's simple, isn't it? How can I have fun with her? What millions of ways can I have fun with her? Oh, she's inviting me to something? Let me get to know what it's all about. Because I want to have fun with her. She invited me to this like library thing this Thursday. I didn't know what it was. She's like, hey, would you like to do this thing on Thursday? I'm like, yes. And I'm like, you don't even have to tell me what it is, but yes. And then she told me it was some sort of like art event at our local library. And I'm like, yeah, do I need to know anything? Like, she's like, no, she just come with me and hang out. I'm like, all right, cool. I have no idea what to expect, but it'll be new and I'll be doing something new and fun with her. I'm not like an artsy person per se, like as she is, but that doesn't really fucking matter. I'm like, I'd love to learn about this stuff. I may not practice this in the same way that you will. I may not get involved with it in the same way that you will, but yeah, like I'll enjoy it with you. She's not placing this expectation on me to like change my identity. Oftentimes what can happen is when people are saying, just love me the way that I am, there's a threat to their identity. But I find what they're rooting their identity on is kind of dumb. There is no room for growth. There's no room for change. So if there's no room for growth, how can you, like, you can't connect with another person. I focus on keeping shit simple. Just have fun with your partner. What a radical concept. Wow. Oh, she likes makeup? Okay, let me get invested in her world and what she likes about makeup, as opposed to doing the dismissive stuff like, oh, it's just a girl's thing. It's like, nah, bro, women like investing in their appearance for certain ways or having fun with it. In the same way guys enjoy their drip. Or any of us who play Neo, or like myself, I change my character's outfits because I'm in the mood for something different. I'm like, yo, I want this cool outfit. Oh man, that's awesome. You know, or guys have a bunch of power suits, for example. Or different cars because it looks cool. It's like a similar thing in principle. I'm like, oh yeah. Can totally relate, bro. So that's what I tend to focus on. And it makes it a lot more fun. I think change is very healthy in relationships. It's just what is the change coming from? Is it coming from actual sense of sacrifice? Or is it a perception that it's a sense of sacrifice? With my clients, it tends to just be a perception that it's a sacrifice. It's much more fear and anxiety provoked, misguided fears, mind you, rather than an actual like loss of sense of self. To be very clear, I do not encourage people to give up something that is sacred to them. Do not give up your values. You do not have to sacrifice who you want to grow into in order to satiate a relationship. I do not agree with that. I do not encourage any codependence or any enmeshments. With my clients, though, they will interpret that what I've just talked about like, oh, I'll like give up who I am. I'll give up my identity. When really, as I was making a joke about like, yo, what if you just commit crimes and you love scamming old people? I'm like, bruh, that's who you are? I'm like, if you're I'm like, okay, if that's your identity, then it should not be any surprise that someone just like does not want to be near you. That is something you can eat. I think anyone would agree. It's like, yeah, you can give that up. In fact, you probably should. With my clients, what they're giving up or they're afraid of giving up, they may not realize is actually really fucking toxic. And their partners are asking for them to get rid of that toxic tendency. And the clients may not recognize it, and their denial doesn't help. So their identity then just further cements as being toxic and refusing to let that go when it would really help them to do so. I'll take men at large, for example. Men can be obsessed with power in different ways. Wanting to feel powerful, what is toxic? I could be here for ages trying to talk about that, but think of like stereotypes. I'm sure you'll come up with it. Emotionally abusive stuff, like being dismissive, neglectful. But let me just talk about like the stereotypical toxic man that I've worked with. They're kind of a power control freak. Incredibly controlling. And they like do not, and they're like obsessed with having this image. This perfect image. Wanting a perfect image is one thing. But what my clients will do is rather like they want to look good and feel good about themselves. And that's what I think the whole like perfectionism is coming from, right? I want to be seen as perfect. I want to be seen as amazing. But what they will do is prevent anybody else from even having a negative opinion about them. So if they make a mistake, as opposed to owning it, be like, oh shit, I wasn't as perfect as I thought I was. Fuck, let me try to do better. Instead, they're like, no, the way you see me is wrong. You're the problem. I'm perfect the way that I am. It's just you that's the problem. You're crazy. How dare you think like that? And it's like, wait. You're so attached to this image of being perfect. And you don't even recognize what you're doing is literally reducing anyone's perception of you as being perfect. You're literally doing things which are complete self-sabotage. By being controlling like this, you are fucked. And they're like, no, I just like insert whatever justification. I'm like, oh my god. Whereas, as opposed to like establishing, hey, like I'm perfect the way that I am, it's like if you really want to be perfect, you should start doing perfect things yourself. But are you? No, but they'll deny it. Their attachment to whatever identity or self-image they have is very misplaced. It's very warped. That's what needs to be worked on. But them having to reckon with, hey, I'm actually kind of fucked up, is a big blow. So, yeah. I will, to cap this off before I go on to nice name kiss bullshit, I need to go to. Before to cap, just kind of wrap this up. Change is a good thing. Just check in whether or not you are just fearing what you're going to lose and what you're losing is actually significant for long-term health, or whether it is just misguided fears, misplaced fears, toxic things. For me, a lot of my concerns were ultimately pretty toxic in nature. I was scared about losing something that when I really scratched the surface, I'm like, I don't actually give a shit. I would lose. Think about what you are gaining and what you are losing by holding on to that identity thing. Be very clear about that. For me, I was losing having fun with, at the time, my wife. Because I was so rigid in my likes or dislikes of a specific activity. That so rigid that I didn't have fun with her. I made her have fun with me on my terms. Very controlling. So yeah, I lost that. I lost connection that would have been so beautiful and easy. That's what I lost. I would tell people to generally explore whatever, if they're in a relationship, explore the interests of your partner. Again, I'm not saying like do drug use or do criminal things or like give up on your job per se, or self-sacrifice or anything of that nature. You know, anything that someone on the outside could say like, yo, that seems pretty crazy. I'm not talking about things like that. I'm not talking about the obvious. I'm talking about more of the subtle stuff like, oh, hey, I don't like makeup, but she likes makeup. Or I like video games, she doesn't like video games. And she refuses to play it. Let's say she doesn't like video games. See if you can find something that isn't just video games. That's what I do with Cass. I like video games a lot. But these days, since I've just been changing overall, I'm like, you know, sometimes I don't really want to play video games. Hey, Cass, want to go out? She's like, whoa, you never used to like going out. I'm like, yeah, well, I'm having going out with you and doing fun stuff with you. We're going on adventures. This is fun. We can explore some new stuff. And she's like, you never used to do this. This is all I wanted. I'm like, yeah, I was a bit of a complete egghead. I made things really overcomplicated. And she's like, yeah, you did. You made things really difficult. It was so frustrating. I'm like, I know. I'm sorry I wasted your time. It was terrible for you. And, you know, as we resolve things, we have more fun. And, you know, later today, we'll probably play Path of Exile too. And if not, no big deal. We'll do something else. Having fun? What are you planning? I'm planning more fun, chicken burrito. That's my devious plan all along. I'm having fun for the sake of having fun. So, all right, I hope that helps with that whole conversational topic for those of you that are watching this. So I'll move on to what Kiss is talking about. All right, Poofer, I got a question, if that's okay to ask here. I desperately want to get a girlfriend, but whenever I talk to girls, I feel like a snake because of my intentions. How do I solve that? So let's talk about this. This is actually very cool. Okay. You wanting a girlfriend, even desperately having the feeling of wanting a girlfriend is fine. Oh, looks like some follow-up from Mate. You have to respect your partner, agreed. If he or she doesn't like something, you have to accept that. You can, of course, say your opinion, but don't try to change his or her personality. I agree. I agree. By the way, all the advice that I'm giving for is not for you to put on other people. Just to be absolutely clear, this isn't like, oh, I heard Poofer Llama say this, so you should do this. No, this is stuff for ourselves. I don't tell Cass about this that often. All this stuff that I'm preaching and whatever is just for personal change. If you are here, this is for you to change yourself. If you're using it and weaponizing it against other people, that is an absolute distortion of anything that I'm saying whatsoever. I say that because, yes, clients have done that before. Oh, hey, our relationship coach said this, so partner, you need to do this. You're just playing victim because you have a victim mindset. And it's like, no, bro, you trashed her. She is right to operate. She's right to think of herself as a victim because she fucking is a victim. You were like So just to be very clear. So moving back on to, and so just to wrap that up, the content here is for you to consume for yourself, to make changes in yourself, not to change other people. I do not try to change other people. I will guide them so that they change themselves, but I can't control changing other people, nor do I want that responsibility, because that's too much. I just focus on me and changing myself. So if you're here, this is education for yourself. Just to make that very clear. So now back to Kiss's question about desperately wanting a girlfriend. Again, fine. You have a, like, I want to be in a relationship with Cass. Now she doesn't. I want it, but I don't need it. Needing, like, I'm sure you've heard the terms being needy, right? The way I like to think of needy is a little different than the word needy, because my counter argument has, when I've heard needy, has been like, well, doesn't everybody have needs? Right? Like, everybody has needs, like, can't not have them. But really, the way I think about it is forcing somebody. I will never force Cass to be in a relationship with me. I would rather die than that happen. So the question for you, Kiss, is enforcing, by the way, doesn't have to be overt. It can be subtle. It can be pressuring. It can come across from, hey, let me hide away my intentions. Basically, you're trying to maneuver like a snake, as Chicken Burrito is saying, to get what you desire, regardless of the way you get that outcome. That is needy. That can be manipulative. You wanting a girlfriend is normal. So the thing is, the question is, so the question I have for you is, let's say you're speaking to a girl and you let her know at some point, hey, like, I'm thinking I want to go out on a date, want to hang out. Want to hang out, like, get a coffee together. And let's say she says no. No, I don't want to date you. I don't want to go out with you. How will you respond? That's an actual question. While you're typing up your response, I've told Cass I want to be in a relationship with her, and she said no. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, that's totally understandable. Then I think I mentioned this before. We had a deeper conversation of why, and then that felt very pressuring for her to hear that I had feelings for her that she didn't reciprocate. And that was because of how things were in our marriage, where if I felt a certain way, she felt pressured to reciprocate even though she didn't want to. Because she was forced to feel a certain way or to act a certain way when she didn't want to. So it was very controlling. So I was actually coming from a needier space. As long as she wants to remain friends, I wouldn't bring it up again. Okay. If she doesn't, I would avoid her. Oh, if she doesn't want to be friends? Okay. So my impression of this is that, like, you're not going to force her, which is good. You're not going to necessarily come from a place of need. You would be respectful. Oh, you don't want to be in a relationship with me? Okay, well, thanks. Thanks for letting me know. Or you don't want to date? That's fine. You want to be friends or something like that? Right, Jax, of course. Of course. Right. I'm like, yeah, I'm like, no shit. Why would my ex-wife, who I emotionally abused for a better part of a decade, want to be in a relationship with me and doesn't trust me to this day? I'm like, of course she's not going to want to. That's fine. I'm like, I get it. It's cool. For me, mate, I hear that. I hear that concern of like, yeah, only going out and speaking with one for your own need. That's manipulation, I guess. It right. So I'm gonna touch on that a little bit. Right, Jackson. I honestly don't even pay attention to whether she does or not. I'm big in term because for me, it doesn't really change what I do. Straight up. I'm like, will I still try to be loving, caring, and understanding anyway? Try to have fun with her anyway? I'm like, yeah, it doesn't really matter if we're together or not. She's someone I deeply care about. She is someone I'm going to respect. I am still going to go into therapy regardless and fix my shit regardless. I still want to become a therapist regardless. The exact manifestation of that and timeline of that might change considering with respect to a few things, but no, like it's part of who I am. I'm gonna be nice. I'm not gonna be like, oh no, she doesn't want to be with me, therefore I'm not gonna be nice to her. I'm like, that's fucking dumb. No, I'm not doing that shit. But to Mate's point, the thing is, she's in a trust building process. Yeah, she said so. She's like slow and steady. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. I'm very grateful she's even giving me a shot. I told her, I'm like, frankly, I don't feel like I deserve it, so thanks. But right, to Mate's point, the circumstances I think also determine that. Like wanting a girlfriend, but only speaking to women just to have a girlfriend can naturally seem a bit off. But let's say he's like going on dating apps. And I'd be like, well, the expectation is very much, the expectation is clear. You're seeing other people to date them. But if you are going towards just random women and your first thought is, I just want a girlfriend and that's it, then I do not think that's the healthiest way to go. Because here's another thing with that. The question is, I actually should have asked earlier, is why do you want a girlfriend so badly? That's what I actually need to understand. Why? Because there's me. Because I'll just take my life, for example. I think I've dated 2 people in my entire life. I've been in 2 relationships, and that's it. What makes you so desperate? Like, why? Because on the surface, you've mentioned things. I'm like, well, it doesn't seem like you're needy per se, based on what you're saying. But I don't know what it's like to be around you. I don't know what's leaking out of your system. Whether it's concerned about, hey, I'm getting in a relationship purely to satisfy my needs, as opposed to, I want to build a relationship with another human being. One route is I get a girlfriend for me, purely for me, and it's not really about building a relationship together with another person. It just becomes very self-centered, self-absorbed. Right, and it's not really in regard to them. But the other option for interdependent relationships, which I 100% recommend for everybody here, interdependence is what I recommend. Which is like, 2 human beings working things out like as equals. It's a partnership. That's a different story. That's where a lot of healthy marriages are built, which is what some of the stuff Jax has talked about, where it's like an interdependent relationship. There is no sense of sacrifice about giving up what we love. Even though Cass and I are not in a romantic relationship, she doesn't ask me to give up Neo. She'll ask me, how did my stream go? And I'll tell her. And she's curious about a few things related to that. But not once does she give up Neo. give up Neo, otherwise you don't love me. Like, that doesn't happen. And even if she were to say that, from what I know about her, it's because there's something underneath it. The root of it, the real reason isn't that she wants me to sacrifice things about myself. It's there is something going on with her deeper. Again, my default is to be very understanding of her, and she's more than earned it. It's very clear to me. So, to Mate's points, if you want a girlfriend and it's to satiate your loneliness, or to satiate your depression, or to satiate feeling unloved, and so that you feel loved or feel worthy, I'm just going to break it to you right now. No relationship will do that for you. Relationships can help. They can present an opportunity for you to feel better and to not feel as alone. But a relationship will never solve the problems you have with yourself. The only way, in my experience, a relationship could even do that is if you, as the individual, are already working on filling up your own cup. An empty cup who is looking to others to fill his cup can only work for so long. I know this doesn't sound very good, but when I look at it deeply, I just see it as a thing that should be done. Like farming the perfect ethereal gear in Neo 2. So here, I'm glad you're saying that. I'm glad you're admitting that. And you recognize it doesn't sound very good. Because think about how the message you are, if that's what you believe, think about the general message you're communicating with your body language and just in general the way you speak and everything. Hey, I want to get in a relationship with you just so I can tick off a checkbox. That's my intention. I just want to tick off one of the checkboxes in my checklist. Do you, like, will that help anyone fall in love with you? I don't know how to stop thinking like this. I'll take that as an admission that you think it's not helpful. So let's go with the question that I have on the screen. But why? Why do you need this relationship so badly? Like, why is it a thing that just needs to be done? What happens, in other words, another way I can put this is, what happens if you don't get it done? Walk to a girl and go, I just get this over with. Gosh. Hey, Cass, I'm no, I'm not gonna go down this route. Right. So you recognize it's not productive. So the question I want to ask is, what will happen if you don't get it done? Why are you so, like, what is causing this desperation inside you? That's what I'm trying to understand. What are you afraid of? So you don't get a girlfriend. Then what? You know, true story, Chicken Burrito, not so much with the walking to a girl part, but I knew somebody who would just like, whose attitude towards video games and stuff was like, let's just get this over with. Just want to get this over with. I'm like, are you, like, what? Do you not like the game? Just want to get it over with, man. Like, that's what I would legit hear. I'm like, okay, don't seem like you're having fun at all. Whereas with me, with like Neo, I'm like, no, I don't want, I want more to learn. I don't want this to be over. I want to have more fun. So yeah, I guess once you can give me some information as to why, like, once we can understand the deeper reasons that are fueling your thinking, then we can change your thinking more easily. There's a reason, though. Some people treat Underworld like that. I mean, I treated the depths like that. Oh my gosh, I did not enjoy it. I was like, I'm just doing it once and done, and that's it. But then I moved towards doing things in Neo 2 that I actually liked. They just leave the fight to me entirely. Yeah. I mean, for them, it's just like a chip on their belt, I guess, or something like that. But at some point, I'm like, wait, why are you playing this game again? Are you actually having fun? Isn't the whole point of playing games to have fun? Like, what's going on here? Yeah, it is their loss. I don't know, man. Satisfaction of having someone who loves you deep other than your mother, maybe. Okay, let's say, all right, let me try to, all right, so I'm going to try to uncover what I suspect is the fear-based reasons that makes you feel desperate. So anticipate some anxiety with this. Let's say you never find a girlfriend and someone who doesn't love you the way you want to be loved. What does that rattle up inside you? You can't find a girlfriend. You can't find someone who loves you deeply. What thoughts come up in your head? I am doing something wrong with my life. Interesting. All right, now we're getting somewhere. Now we're getting somewhere. I'm doing something wrong. Says who? I mean, I I'm not married. I don't have kids. So, mate, with that statement, like if someone never had a girlfriend, like people can be curious about relationships. But Kiss is talking about desperately wanting it and feeling like a snake for wanting it. Like it's not a clean thing because when we're younger, like like curiosity is one thing. Like oh yeah, I'm curious. Everyone wants to experience a relationship, but Kiss is talking about like desperately. This is seeming to go strong. Like oh, I'm doing something wrong with my life. So I'm right now trying to understand like says who, because people get into relationships. People get into relationships at different points in their lives. I've only been in two. Both were long-term relationships. I'm what? Mid-30s now. I'm not married. I'm divorced. I don't have kids. On the outside, I'm totally doing things wrong. Whoa, I fucked it up. Whatever. And like when I have this, if I were to have this thought stuff, I'm like, oh, I already know who's telling me I'm doing something wrong. I can hear it in my head. But I'm having that self-awareness about it. So I know, and like, I'm trying to help Kiss get to that point too. So that's what I'm trying to understand. Who is saying you're doing something wrong? You think you're doing something wrong with my life, but how do you know? Maybe Maybe you just had a really bad breakup, so you feel the need to be in one again. I don't know. That's why I'm asking the questions. One thing I'll say about intentions is if we feel bad about our intentions, we should definitely check in with that. I try to intend to do good things, not just for myself, but for others. Right, as Husky is saying, I think that would be a lot of pressure on the girl. Oh, yeah, I agree. Right now, I'm trying to help Kiss get some understanding of what's going on internally because I don't really have a clue. I have a couple of guesses. I'm like, it could be this, it could be that. This is where I've gotten to so far. That this is an internal. So far, I'm already determining like this is an internal thing. I usually help people address the problems they have with themselves so that relationships go smoothly. Because, right, if my approach to relationships is like, well, I just need to get a girlfriend. I just need to get a girlfriend, otherwise I'm doing something wrong. And if that's like my main motivation for getting in a relationship, it's like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Getting into a relation, like in my mind, for me, my motivations for getting into a relationship with Cass, they're multifaceted. Like, obviously, I want to have fun with her. Have fun, build a life together. Peace, quiet, fun, like, it's like peace and quiet and stuff like that. Like, it's just about sharing a life together. It's really about it. And what does that involve? For me, there's about like, you know, the aspect of another human being. Right, like, how do I put it? Like I want a relationship with her, but I really want to have fun and build a life together with somebody that I feel close to. I want that intimacy and that connection, right? Now, because I want those things, oh, looks like I'm off the chart here. And because I want those things, you know, I've said before, be loving, understanding, etc. You know, like all that. You know, I try to provide those things. Right, so loving, caring, respecting, honorable, I mean, all of that, right? Integrity. Like, there's certain qualities that I have that I practice anyway. I try to give Cass a lot of emotional safety, you know, like all that stuff. Stories I've read since childhood, I've always had a love interest character. Romance is a weird feeling I've never experienced, so maybe I just want what I saw in those books. Okay, I mean, that's fine. But what do you think a relationship is about? Because right now, what I'm gathering is, like you said, okay, stories. Can I be crude about it? Go for it. I definitely want like some specifics. Physical affection. I mean, okay. I mean, this is gonna take. I'll be even more crude than what you're saying. I'm not saying this applies to you. But if your goal to get with a girlfriend is, hey, I just want physical affection, or if you're like, hey, I just want to get laid, then it just, like, can you understand why some women would be like, oh, you just want to have sex and that's it? If your goal is, hey, I want a girlfriend for physical affection, I mean, you could always go Tinder. If what you really want is physical affection, like, I'll just be very upfront. If you're just trying to get laid, then yeah, women will be able to tell. Women have very good pattern recognition, not because of any magical superpower, but because they have dealt with that a lot. They are used to men only wanting physical affection and just wanting to have sex with them and nothing else. If you even take a look, if you take a look at what I wrote down, I'm not trying to like toot my own horn here. Might look like it, but my intention isn't about that. It's to be more education. It's not even women's sixth sense. It's just they've dealt with it so much they can tell. Like, it's becomes pattern recognition. It's kind of like when you play video games, you're kind of like, yeah, I kind of know what to expect across all video games and soul likes, for example, because this is generally how it goes. So something happening doesn't surprise me. I have my quote unquote sixth sense already developed. It's the same thing. Like in video games, when a boss is about to charge up a move, and you're like, okay, there's a few things that could happen here. They could either be doing a fake out or they're going to do a super move. This is probably my moment to get the fuck back. It just becomes so predictable after a while. So when it comes to women evaluating men, it's like, oh, I can tell based on certain ways that they're speaking to me, certain ways that they're interacting with me, certain ways they respond to me. Like, it's kind of obvious what they're here for. It's like, if it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it's probably a duck. So if you're just trying to get laid, that's very separate from wanting a girlfriend. Someone who's looking to have a relationship and sex, yes, sex can exist in relationships. But for a long-term healthy relationship, you need long-term healthy relationship type things. If you take a look at what I'm talking about, have fun, build a life together. Intimacy and connection. When I'm saying intimacy, I wasn't even thinking about like physical stuff. Like that's like super late stage in my mind. I'm just like, like for me, it's intimacy and connection. I'm thinking about emotional things. And for those emotional things, I recognize I need to be this day in and day out, and I need to practice this in the best possible way. And, you know, like I've talked about with things with Cass and how my marriage fell apart because of me. You know, I focused on emotional things. Do I want sex? Sure. But like, I'm not going to get in a relationship just to satiate my need for sex or a desire for sex. That would be very counterproductive for my relationship goals. So Jax, what I will say, if Chicken Burrito doesn't want a relationship, he's happy with the where he's at, leave it be. If he changes his mind, that's up to him. But right, so if your intentions are to get laid, and that's what you're aiming for, Kiss, then yes, I would strongly encourage you to check yourself seriously there. 100%. And Chicken Burrito, when it comes to your own decision to not get into relationships, that's totally your right. It's totally your right to do so. You don't get into a relationship if you don't want to. By all means. This is your life. If you're happy, then stay happy. And just because other people might think it's coping, you don't have to regard that as fact. It's just their perceptions and their opinions. I'm technically single. I'm single or divorced, whatever. I am fine not being in a relationship. Obviously, I'd have to be. Otherwise, like, if I wasn't okay, you know, I'd be like, oh, guys, please come back to me, please. I've changed. Oh my gosh, I promise everything will be different. Oh my gosh, just give me a chance. I beg you, I've done all the work for you. Ah. I'm like, oh, she doesn't want to be in a relationship with me? Okay. Cool. Want to play Path of Exile 2 later? Oh, no, you don't? What's going on? Oh, okay, here's why. All right, cool. Let me work on the things that can be worked on, and all right, cool. That's about it. But yes, guys, if your intention is to just get laid, then yeah, you're kind of screwed. Women will be able to tell that upon you. Please, babe, I'm redeemable. I promise. Let me redeem the card. But yeah, just to be very clear, if your intentions in getting into a relationship are not about the relationship, about doing anything for a long-term relationship, but instead about having sex, then it's going to fall apart. Your intentions then are manipulative and dishonest. Oh, I really want to get a girlfriend, but the real reason is because I just want to have sex with you. I'm not really invested in anything to do with long-term relationships. I'm not really interested in building emotional intimacy. I'm not really worried about, like, you know, having a nice friendship or a deep bond with you. I just want to get laid because I've seen other people get laid before, and like, I just feel like I have to. I just need to like blow my load. Right? Like, in my opinion, the self-respecting, high-value women, they'll be like, no, I'm good. That's not what I want. I want something deep and real. Something where, like, I can be very intimate with somebody, not just like physically, but like deeply and emotionally, and like it's a very fulfilling long-term relationship. If I want to be with somebody for the rest of my life, for example, then this just having sex is not a foundation for me. So you won't get a girlfriend if your intention, like, you're just not going to get a girlfriend for a long-term relationship if your goals are specifically short-term. If you just want to get laid, guess what? There are plenty of ethical options for you to do so. There's things like brothels. You want to stop thinking like this? Any tips on how to do it? Well, first is okay, so good that you have the recognition. So several things. You need, like, I would say you have to understand what's fueling it. I can just say, hey man, this type of thinking is wrong. You need to instead think long-term stuff. Like, I can say that. As Chad is going into it, they're trying to come up with reasons that are in between. That's unfair to say, in my opinion, to say that a woman who is only interested in a short term or getting laid lacks high values or self-respecting. My apologies if that's a message that I've communicated, which seems to be the case. Let me try to requalify it, because I'm not trying. Let me be very clear. I apologize if that's a message that I gave to you, which seems like I did. So sorry about that. If a woman wants some short-term fling or getting laid, that is independent of somebody who has high value in themselves or self-respecting. That is a separate thing. I'm not referring to those people who also want flings. There are plenty of women, Chris, who want just flings and just want sex. And they just want a boyfriend. They say they want a boyfriend, but what they really want is just to get to laid. That's fine. I am fine with whatever two consenting adults have. But if you're coming from the perspective, for a woman who wants a long-term relationship, if she can tell the only reason you're interested in her is not long-term based, then I'm going to say, if she is respecting of her own wishes, her own desires, she's not going to go for it. By all means, Kiss, if you just want to get laid, find someone who matches that. I'm sure there are women who are like, I just want to get laid. How many there are, I don't know. But I'm sure there's a woman who totally consents. Right? But as Jax is now pointing out, the issue isn't about your desire per se. It's about what you are doing to satiate your desire. If you just want to get laid, go find somebody who also wants to get laid. That's fine. I personally don't want that for me. I'm like, well, I want this, so I will do this. I want these things, I be this. So, Kiss, do you just want to get laid? Or do you actually want a long-term relationship? Obviously, in a long-term relationship, you can have physical and sexual intimacy. But that's a short-term fling or casual sex, for example, and a long-term relationship are two very different things. When you say getting a girlfriend, I'm thinking of, oh, you're in this category. Now, if you are actually in this category, and you're struggling with, oh, hey, I have all these short-term impulses, and I don't like them and I don't want them, then there's a lot of deep diving I need to do in between to understand what the hell's going on. Because it's a serious disconnect. What you're thinking is not aligned with what your thinking isn't aligned with thinking that would help you get here. The key here is just being honest with both yourself and the person you're engaging with. Yeah. Right. It like, just if you're on the same page and both of you just want to get laid, that's fine. That happens. I'm sure there are plenty of women who are like, I just want to have sex and that's it. That's all I want. I'm gonna feel the touch of a man. That's it. I don't want any like relationship stuff right now. I'm not interested in that. Just want to get laid. That's it. I'm sure. And you could absolutely go that route. And you can just find someone appropriate. No harm, no foul. It's consensual. But as Jax is saying, the dishonesty, and if you're feeling like a snake with your intentions because of that, then yeah. Then we got to rewrite shit. Okay, so you're saying you do want long-term. All right. So now that we've established that, and thank you for that clarification, we've got a serious disconnect here. As Mate is saying, we've got that disconnect here. We need, like, like, it's unclear. We got some stories. So far, it's like, all right, you got some stories, I guess. But there's a big gaping hole. You want a long-term relationship, and yet you feel this thirst. It sounds like this need to just get laid because of some stories. There is something in there. So my question to you is, sure, you can want physical intimacy and you can want sex. But my question to you is, and this will help, what's stopping you from going this route? Like, hey, okay, I want to eventually have all the pleasures of the world with my partner. I want a long-term relationship. Like, I would really love to have sex at some point. It'd be so cool for me. I'd feel really loved and appreciated. Which is what I'm trying to understand, which is a tell for something right there. What does sex mean to you? And by the way, stop in general, what I try to do is not get people to stop their thinking as opposed to be able to shift it. And then over time, old thinking goes away and new thinking comes in its place. It's a gradual process. Let's see what you have written down. Maybe there was a clue. Romance is a weird feeling I've never experienced, so maybe I just want what I saw in the book. You want physical affection. Took the words out of my mouth. I wasn't this desperate before I started university. I got desperate after starting it. Okay. Right, Jax, there's that disconnect. So yeah, I need to understand, what does physical intimacy mean to you? I have some speculation because, I'm a guy. So there's that. Let's see how much time I have, actually. Okay, I got a little bit of time left. It seemed, whatever it is, it seemed to be significant. So significant, it's overriding some of these other things, and you're like, shit, I can't stop thinking like this. I can't help it. If you're having trouble answering that question, then I would ask, like, hey, if you want sex so bad in a long-term relationship, which I'm guessing would help you feel fulfilled in many ways, make you feel loved, appreciated, all that, and you feel special because a woman wants to be with you, that type of stuff, then my question is, to be honest, it just feels like a thing I should do to become whole. So you're not whole until you have sex. Interesting. How would you be inadequate? Let's say you never, let's go with the worst case scenario of you never ever have sex with another person. Then what? Right, Jax. See how we're going deeper? So now I'm trying to figure out, okay, Kiss doesn't feel whole. I don't know, it just feels like I'm missing the DLC. So here's what I've gathered so far. You don't feel whole without sex. And it's so strong for you that you'll hide behind your desire to have sex Dude, there's I don't know, it just feels like I'm missing the DLC. You're in university? Are you in your okay. As opposed to me trying to ask you, let me just try to do what I do. um are you in your early 20s? Early 20s or like you're 19. Okay. All right. So this is coming from somebody who's like 36. So let me try to put myself in your shoes when I was 19. Okay. How loved do you feel by your family and friends? Another question is, do you feel like you could talk to them about this? Do you feel like they'd be understanding towards you about this? Is this something you could talk to your dad about? Hey, dad, um, I'm at university now, and I don't know how to deal with this. Like, I want girls, but I've got these feelings and thoughts that seem kind of like weird, and I feel kind of icky. So just to be clear to chat, I'm asking these questions because I'm trying to understand Kissa's psychology. What's going on with him? What's his backstory? Because being 19, the lack of self-awareness makes more sense because he's only been alive for 19. Family very much, but friends won't answer my text nor answer me. Okay, so you feel loved by your family, but friends won't answer my text nor text me if I don't most of the time. Okay, how many people do you see? You do feel loved by your family. I wonder if you could talk to them about this. Right. So someone he's if he's 19, he's not going to have nearly as much self-awareness as I have because I've lived, nearly twice as long and I've been like intensely focusing on relationship stuff for a long time. And it's my job. It's what I do. So kind of have to know it a lot. Because so far what I'm gathering is a strong fear of missing out. Like that is overpowering. And my guess is that you're seeing other people now who are having things you don't have. And like you said, you're worried about you're doing something wrong. You feel lonely because you get back the same attention you give it to other people? Sometimes. I don't think it's a one-to-one all the time. I've known people who definitely don't deserve to get hurt and they get punished so severely. I mean, that was me growing up. I certainly didn't. So there's that. Maybe I'm misunderstanding. Okay, you feel like you're missing out. Okay. So college and university is a very interesting environment. And I'll just cut straight to the chase here. I remember thinking I was missing out on so much. In high school, for example, couples dating, oh my gosh, yeah, I wanted a girlfriend. I was doing it, and I was so curious about these things. Like my first girlfriend when I was like 16, I obviously wanted a girlfriend. But right, a lot of it was also fueled by wasn't fueled by the healthiest thing. You're only 19. One thing I would say is give yourself a little grace. I was under the impression, and I usually am under the impression, that people I'm speaking to are like my age. Not necessarily like late teens, early 20s. There is a difference. Um, but right, in high school, I remember thinking, oh, I'm missing out because these people are tapping into something I can't have or I can never have. And I would focus on that. So actually, I'm going to change this. The thing is, because you haven't been in a relationship, because you don't have that experience, naturally what we can have, and what I did have for some time, was almost rose-colored glasses about what relationships are like. Relationships are not just like all the like fun, happy, loving things, or like the romance, or the like hands all over each other, physical affection, getting laid, and all of that. That certainly is there. Like when you find somebody that you can connect with, obviously you're probably going to be humping each other like rabbits. Okay. And it can very much get idealized. Like you were talking about, stories idealize it, movies romanticize it. Very much so. I don't know if you've seen Indian movies, but if you want to see like some cringe romance stuff where it's like love at first sight and all that stuff, and they're totally over each other, and then they get married in like 2 months, and then crazy whatever, like shit, just watch them and you'll be like, oh my gosh. But that is a fantasy, which in my opinion is less rewarding than this stuff. There will be temptations from the outside. But if you scratch the surface and really understand the full scope of what makes a healthy relationship, a fulfilling relationship, even an incredibly sexually active relationship, I think you will find that focusing on this more and more will help. And one of the key things with relationships that I would add is that relationships are fraught with conflicts. Conflicts are a part of life. I'm not talking about like big explosive conflicts with arguments. I'm sure you've heard like horror stories about relationships. Okay. I deal with what I really help my clients with is understanding how to resolve conflicts. Big in nature, small in nature, it doesn't matter. Many of my clients have a very idealized version of what, or very not idealized, but a very fantastical perception of what relationships are like, where it's like, oh, you just meet like your soulmate and then you just click and everything's perfect, and then you're like humping like jackrabbits or something. And then everything is just fine and dandy and peaches. And we can think we're missing out on that when we see like two people have this intense chemical connection. I'm guessing does some of that resonate with you? I'm just checking in because I'm trying to make sure I understand where you're really coming from. Now that you're 19, it does change things for me. I'm guessing you feel like you're missing out on that rosy dream. And you can't help but be like, dude, I don't want to miss out on this rosy dream. Because my thinking in general now is that your perception of what a long-term relationship could be and how to create it is just distorted based on what you are seeing in your university. And my guess is that you're evaluating things for relationships via short-term thinking, short-term pursuits, short-term enjoyment, rather than stuff in the long term, which would permanently give you those short-term things anyway. Just let me know. In the meantime, while you're crafting up a response, I'll try to address something that Chad is mentioning. So, to the discussion that Mate and Jax are having, what I look for when it comes to people in general is not even necessarily what they are now, but what they not like. I don't try to change people, but I'm curious to see if they are growing and whether they could lead towards a potential that I would like. If so, great. I'll give it a shot and I'll invest. If not, not worth my time. I think a lot of us, of those who have lived a bit longer, generally recognize the importance of investments. I think anyone can understand investment. What am I kidding? An investment, when you start investing in it, can have like very little value. But through some data where you can see, oh, it's growing, and consistent data that it's growing, you're like, I'll put more money into it. Sure, it started out low now, but like, damn, there's going to be one day where it's really going to pop off. You know, that's like what happens with stocks and investments, right? Or like with the GameStop stock. Then it's like, you know, people made a ton of money. Or I guess people view crypto in that regard. Some people are investing in it because they perceive, oh my gosh, it keeps growing. Sure, Bitcoin, like when Bitcoin came out, there was like, oh, Bitcoin meme, and then eventually like it popped off, right? And by the way, this isn't an endorsement of crypto. I don't invest in crypto. I am very uncomfortable with it as a premise. For me, I'm like, sure, I see this trajectory financially, but there are other concerns I have where I see, sure, maybe the trajectory of this is increasing, but I am personally concerned about like everything falling apart. So I'm like, not worth the risk. I don't even want to buy in the short term because then I'm worried that I'll invest into like something bad for a lot of different reasons. But contrast that with me, between Cass and I, we're not romantically reconciled. So on the surface, it's like, dude, you're not getting that much output. But I'm like, bro, for a variety of reasons, I don't really care. And I'm like, no, I just keep applying myself and keep doing this stuff and keep growing myself. Like, it'll get better. I have a lot of faith in that. I don't see anything principally wrong with this. I'm like, I keep doing this, I greatly increases my chances of this. Not to mention, in the present, I'm already fucking doing that. We're gonna play Path of Exile too. I mean, that is having fun. We are building a life together in a unique capacity. But right, that's what I'm thinking about the long term. But I need a lot of evidence for that. I just want to see someone growing and changing and getting better. Great. If they can grow with me, great. But like, and a big tell of that, to kind of tie this back into Kiss, I don't know if he's still here. I don't see any comments. It's been a few minutes, so I'm still waiting. By the way, oh, you're perfect. You just responded. So, okay. Oh, that's very helpful information. It's not about university only. I had girls who were my friends back in high school, but even if I wanted something more, I was too much of a coward to try anything. Now I feel like it's futile for me. Okay. I mean, sure, you could have tried back then, but why not now? I think he's equating sexual connection with closeness. I mean, that is one way to get close, but it's one way of many ways. I unfortunately don't think I can figure this all out in the next 5 minutes because I do have to go. Um, but here's what I would say for now. I'll try to wrap this up. Maybe this can come up next time on a different call or a different stream. So the thing is, I don't know, it was easier to connect in high school. Here's the thing. If you really want a long-term relationship, my advice would be to invest in things that will help you build that long-term relationship. Having sex with somebody is great. Having sex with somebody, it obviously feels great. But you want to make sex amazing, like dream fucking level, is this shit. Seriously. Like, this is where the best sex happens. Legit. When you can fully trust one another, when you can fully feel safe with one another, when you can have like best friend type stuff, you can hang out, you can do anything, you can talk about anything, and you're just doing fun shit all the time. And when you're having sex not from a place of scarcity but from abundance, is good. And then that type of stuff, when you can have that sexual closeness, it can enhance this even further. I'm not going to give too many personal details, just to be appropriate for things, but like, it makes a huge difference. But I would say for you to have both like the amazing sex that people like and have amazing relationship is to focus on the foundation. Right now for you, I would just say, let's not worry about getting into a relationship with people. Like, let's not have that be the big chief anxiety thing to worry about. I understand that's a concern. I would say for you, what to focus on would be, hey, let me just I want to make good friends with people. I want to make good friends with girls as well. Not for the purpose of getting laid, but to see, hey, is this somebody I could have fun and build a life with? I want a long-term relationship. I want something really deep and fulfilling. I wouldn't try to be like, oh, everything that I'm doing is in the pursuit of having a girlfriend. Here's what I find is super, like, that's a fuck ton of pressure. Oh my gosh, I gotta get a girlfriend, man. If I don't get a girlfriend, I fucking suck. I'm missing out. And I'm stressed and, like, I've wasted my life and I was a coward. Bro, you are going to lose your fucking mind. That is so much pressure. And then every interaction you have with a girl, a constant reminder of, oh my gosh, I don't have a girlfriend. I feel like a coward and I'm a failure. Oh, that's gonna kill you, dude. I'm sure it's already killing you. And then, oh, it's easier to connect in high school. Right now, you're in college and you're in university. I would say for you, like, here's what I generally do. For me, the way I see it is, if you are focused on building a great life for yourself that you're happy with, where you're having, let's say, friends, if that's important to you, or whatever it is going on in school, the things that make you individually whole as a person, then let me tell you what happens. Just naturally, you're going to have a fucking easier time connecting with people who resonate with you. who want to do the same things with you, who share interests with you, who are aligned with you. I would say focus on that. Because the level of intimacy you can have with a person who really aligns with you and is growing and building that type of life with you. I mean, I like explosive goodness, to say the least. Like, talk about guilty pleasures all the time. The connection that you'll have when you can have that strong basis of emotional intimacy, strong basis of that emotional connection with just human beings at large. When you're coming from a place of abundance rather than from a place of scarcity, it's very attractive. Dude, I'll just like tell you. All right, I've had like I have to leave out certain details. I just be myself and just try to be this. I do get female interest, and not in corners I expect. And I'm like, no thanks. I only have eyes for casts. I'm like, I'm good. I've actually one funny story I'll say is I've actually had to like there's some people, some of my clients have to like sometimes they'll project stuff onto me and I'm like, okay. I'm sorry, I'm just your coach. This is a coach client relationship. I've had to like draw that line before. Actually, have I? No, not as a coach. Fortunately, not anymore. But yeah, sorry, I mislabeled that. One case in recent memory, which is a random woman. I was just being myself, not even thinking about anything to do with the relationship with this person at fucking all. Not that I think about that in general. I'm just trying to be this, right? A woman basically imprinted, like, kind of imprinted on me. And I'm like, okay, I didn't expect this. And obviously, from my sense of identity and my own values, I was like, no, I only have eyes for Cass. I appreciate the, whatever feelings you're having for me based on your interactions with me. But thanks, but no thanks. And like, it was cool, I guess, but I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to focus on that. I've even had it before where it's just, I'm just trying to be the person that I want to be. And that's most important to me, to building a life I'd be happy with and treating people the way I want to treat people. And then, like, people start resonating with me. I'm like, okay, cool. I've had one of my clients and she's there is no like transference onto me, fortunately, but she's like, yeah, I don't know many guys like you, like, at all. I've never heard of a guy like you. I'm like, thanks. And then I'm trying to help her build that relationship for her now ex-husband. But like, yeah, like she was saying, wow, you do all these things for Cass, that'd be so amazing if like I experienced that. Like, wow, like I really trust you. Like significant amounts of trust just from doing this. Just from me trying to fill up my own cup. And it's not just fill my own cup at this point. It's about, as I'm saying here, when I'm being loving, respecting, honorable, and having integrity and caring, I'm giving a lot. Think of it this way. From the perspective, like if you're working a job, like if your boss is continuously being nice to you and praising you and helping you do better at your job, here, let's make this even simpler. Which employer are you going to pick? Someone who gives you minimum wage, or someone who not only promises you a high like salary, but also you get raises for your salary depending upon like whether you do good work. Pretty sure you're gonna be like, bro, that's a no fucking brainer. I'm gonna take the great salary with promises for greater salaries. Yeah. Oh, great benefits. The work culture is actually really nice. I don't have to take my work at home. Yeah. How many, and another question is rhetorical in nature. How many people do you think apply to that job? Probably like a bunch of people. Be like, yo, that's such a stand-up deal. Yeah. Oh yeah, you get profit sharing as well with our company. We'll have a nice severance package in case things go awry. And you know, they like give you all the assurances and basically guarantee you're gonna get great stuff. There's an employer, if you have issues with them, you can talk to them. Like, you can just tell this culture is like amazing. And you're guaranteed to grow and live like a good life. Dude, people are gonna apply to that job in droves. I remember a story like where some CEO was like offering like $50,000 to anybody who applied like for a job. Or I forget. And then it was just like you got like a bajillion applications. I'm like, of course. I forget the nature of it. But he's like, yeah, I don't take that much money myself. I want to make sure all my employees are getting paid no matter what, despite what's occurring in the pandemic or something. Or there's a story of some like CEO who the shareholders disliked, but then all the employees were like, no, bro, this guy, and like the shareholders wanted to like dock the pay of the workers because the CEO was being too nice. And so like all the workers were like, bro, if this CEO ain't there, we ain't doing shit. And so then the shareholders had to like back off. So in other words, you grow your value so highly, and when you're coming from a giving space, people will flock to you. But you need to be able to fill your own cup and come from a place of just overflowing. For that reason, what I would say, Chris, is to focus on doing just that first. Your goal, in my opinion, should not be necessarily about getting a relationship now. But you can channel that thinking towards, how can I create a life that a woman that I would be thrilled to be with and who would be thrilled to be with me would just naturally want to be a part of that. You build a good life, you create ingredients for a good life for yourself, you keep working on that, you'll find somebody who resonates with that too and wants to build that life with you. Where you can talk about all these deep things and align on whatever type of sex you want or anything. That's what I would say to focus on. It's not so much stopping your thinking. It's like, yes, I want this so badly. So let me channel my stress and anxiety as much as towards doing this. So if you're feeling lonely on campus, figure out ways you can to help you feel more fulfilled, aside from just, I need a relationship to feel whole. I will just tell you, a relationship on its own will never make you feel whole. A relationship can, however, present an opportunity for you to build yourself to feel more whole, but that's because you're working on yourself and the relationship just presents one opportunity for you to do that. You don't need to be perfect, but I would always say work on yourself anyway. Oh gosh, Maggie! Maggie! Oh, the sad meows. She wants food. That's what I would say is the most important. As Chicken Burrito is saying, focus more on the present. Work on building your own fun life as a single human being. I don't know, man. I'm too stuck in the past. Well, I'll make this a choice. You recognize you're too stuck in the past, which is why it's time to start focusing on the present and your future. Yes, you have lost a lot. But now it's the time to start gaining things that in the long term. Invest in your future. I've been through a lot of shit in my past. I don't want to deal with that past anymore, which is why I worry and stress and put my energy towards what can I do now to improve a better future in a way that is aligned with who I want to be and practices my values to the utmost best. That's what I would give to you. If there is something massively psychologically distressing that obviously like I haven't addressed, that like I may not be able to given the time and just the nature of the medium that we have here, I would strongly encourage you to reach out to any, like you may have a counselor on campus to help you to really understand how to work towards the goals that you have. And by all means, you can always, like, and this goes for anybody, I do have to cut this short. But by all means, if you want to pop in, and this goes to anybody, if you want to pop in for like some free like coaching and discussions and stuff like that, by all means, I'll be here pretty much every Saturday. Same time, 3 p.m. Yeah, just for free. You, for whatever reason, want to become my client, you can just let me know and we can talk shop from there. Not that I expect it. And yeah, so I guess I'll leave it at that for today. So I hope that was somewhat helpful. I wish guess I could have given you more salient advice. There's a lot that's going on in there. So I'd encourage you to not only figure out what's driving you in between, but to also focus more on having these ingredients if sex is that important to you. So this, you may have past, I would just say in a simple nutshell, you may have some past stuff that's feels like it's holding you back. It'll be there for a while. That'll keep knocking on your door. That's fine. It'll be there. But what you want to do is eventually drown it out by working on this and investing on this side of things. Keep investing in that. It might be 1,000 data points in here. You might only have one, and it'll still feel strong. Let that be an indication of like, oh shit, I need to invest more in here. And eventually over time, what'll happen is this shit will shrink and this stuff will eventually reign king. Take it from me. I used to be very emotionally abusive with a lot of shitty tendencies. So all the thinking that was associated with that was intensely strong. Your goal is just to add a little bit more on this other side today. I practice that. If I can do it, so can anybody else. So with that, thank you all so much for watching. I hope this was helpful and hope to see you guys next time. Take care and bye.